Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Music Mondays podcast. I'm your host, Tom Slays. Welcome on in, my friends. Happy Monday. What's cracking? How we feeling? This is a very special episode. This is episode 200 of the Music Mondays podcast. That's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy. I've been kind of thinking about it all day. Been kind of thinking about what I want to talk about and what the show's gonna be like. But I didn't want to make it like too different, right? Because you know, 200 episodes is definitely crazy, but we have a long road ahead of us as well, right? I mean, it's not like the show's stopping anytime soon, so we can definitely take some time to celebrate tonight for sure. But welcome on in, my friends. Happy Monday. This is episode 200 of the Music Mondays podcast. Welcome on in. I'm your host, John Slace. We have a pretty stacked lineup, a really decent show for you guys. So realistically, we're just gonna cruise through some weekly recap stuff. Then we're gonna go through what's coming on Music Mondays over the course of next week. We're gonna talk about 200 episodes of the Music Mondays podcast, which is gonna be crazy. And then we're gonna hop into some reactions and reviews. So it'll be fun, very fun. But let's get into it. Let's talk. How we doing? How we feeling? Let's sip some coffee. Let's talk weekly recap jazz. So, weekly recap stuff. Let's talk. Per usual, we still have a few pieces of Music Mondays merch left in stock. We have some basic logo tees left, smalls, mediums, and larges. If you're interested in copying any of those, definitely let us know. Send us an email, send us a DM. You can ask for vouchers for anybody that has purchased merch from Music Mondays, super top tier. So we're looking to improve that for 2025 as well. But we have a few extra pieces that we want to get off before the end of the year. So definitely let us know if you're interested in any of that. Of course, per usual, every Tuesday following the live show, Music Mondays drops early access Patreon content. So when it comes to that, like I said, following the live show, you gain access, if you're a Music Mondays Patreon, of course, to the full episode of the Music Mondays podcast, to be able to download and kind of clip and record and things like that. So if you want to get access to the full high quality episode early, definitely go check out our Patreon every Tuesday, because those drop every single Tuesday. So make sure you go check that out for sure. So that's Tuesday per usual. Heading into Wednesday, SoundCloud Sunday submissions open every single Wednesday. So again, make sure you keep your eyes peeled on all of our socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that good jazz, because SoundCloud Sunday submissions do open every single Wednesday. And of course, we do have a Music Mondays podcast update every single Wednesday as well. So again, Wednesday's usually one of our pretty busy days. So definitely keep your eyes peeled on socials and things like that for any updates every single Wednesday when it comes to Music Mondays. But Thursday, heading into Thursday, last week we actually had a really cool topic to discuss. I kind of went over some tips and tricks on how to beat writer's block, how to beat beat block, how to kind of overcome that like creative slump that you inevitably get into no matter who you are. I think every type of creator kind of gets into that weird area, so I wanted to have like an open discussion on how to beat beat block, or how to beat writer's block, or how to even beat any type of creator's block, right? I think that's kind of like a shit feeling. So I kind of wanted to lay down some basic tips for anybody that didn't really have a direction to go in, but also give an opportunity for anybody else to kind of like share some tips of their own, whether they kind of do X, Y, or Z to beat writer's block and things like that. So that segment took place on last Monday during episode 199. So that's available on our YouTube right now. So definitely go check that out. And per usual, we drop videos on our YouTube every Thursday. So segments just like that are available every single Thursday. So go check them out. Go show them some love. And we have a lot planned as far as those go. So pretty excited for the future of underground tips and tricks, definitely. But per usual, every Thursday, the audio version of the Music Mondays podcast drops on all audio platforms. So again, if you missed episode 199, that drops first on audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that good jazz. It's available over there as well. So make sure you go check those out and look for those every single Thursday. And go stream the Music Mondays podcast wherever you listen to other podcasts. Let's see here. So that was Thursday, pretty packed in Thursday, right? And then heading into Friday, brand new article by the homie AJ went live on the Music Mondays website. They got to sit down with a collective known as Diaries of Twilight. So that was a fucking banger. That was AJ's first piece, actually. We announced AJ part of the roster during October, like very early October. And they finally dropped their first piece here in November. So definitely go check that out. Go show that some love. That was a fucking banger piece that did really well on socials as well. And I'm sure it did really well on the site. So go check that out. Great conversation, great group of people. And huge shout out to AJ. Let's see here. So that was Friday. Per usual, we head into Saturday with episode 199 of the Music Mondays podcast, available on our YouTube channel. So again, if you prefer to listen to the podcast on YouTube, or you want to just throw it on in the background, you want to be able to pull it up on mobile or anything like that, that drops every single Saturday on our YouTube channel. So episode 199 is available right now everywhere. So definitely go check it out. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It doesn't really matter where you run it up. Wherever you prefer is the way to go. That's kind of why we wanted to spread the podcast out and make sure we gave everybody a fair opportunity to listen to it wherever they wanted to listen to it, right? So we don't mind. It doesn't really matter as long as you're running up the show. That's all that matters. So that was Saturday. Episode 199. Yep. So heading into Sunday, volume 161 of SoundCloud Sunday is live right now. That was curated by just me this week. I've been doing it the last couple weeks just because everything has kind of been super wacky when it comes to social media and things like that. So I've been kind of taking liberty and making sure some content pieces have been getting done, right? So SoundCloud Sunday volume 161 is available right now on our SoundCloud. So definitely go check that out. Go show that some love. And huge shout out to everybody that submitted SoundCloud Sunday, man. We're still getting a hefty amount of SoundCloud Sunday submissions, which is fantastic. And man, some of the tracks that I still been finding, it's crazy because some weeks you'll have super dry weeks, right? When it comes to SoundCloud drops, and then there's weeks where you can't even get enough into a playlist. Like once we start pushing 20-30 tracks, I'm like, all right, shit, it's kind of long, you know what I mean? So SoundCloud is still very bumping, man. Still very bumping. But SoundCloud Sunday volume 161 is available right now, so go check that out and go show it some love. And of course, stay tuned for more drops to continue throughout November. So that was your weekly recap, my friends. That's pretty much everything you need to know that happened at Music Mondays over the course of the last week or so. So make sure you go check that out on our socials if you like a little bit of a reference or anything like that. So let's see here. Weekly recap is done. So let's talk what's coming on Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so. Like I said, I think the two main things here that we're hyper focused on, like I said, over the last couple weeks, is the Music Mondays Awards and the Music Mondays Patreon update. So the Patreon update is pretty much 90% done. I just actually need to launch it, and we'll go public with that over the course of the next couple weeks. So you see the Patreon update go live first. That'll obviously be done and out of the way, and our Patrons will be able to get a little bit of a more of a clear vision and a hookup, of course, right? So that's kind of first on our list. And then once December kind of hits, we'll be kind of diving into the Music Mondays Awards. So the 2024 Music Mondays Awards. Pretty sure we're going to use the same format like I said last week, same categories, things like that. So I think that'll be really fun to kind of dive into, so that'll be cool. But then outside of that, I think the third thing is Music Mondays merch. We're going to put together a little bit of a lookbook collage of every photo that anybody has ever taken in a Music Mondays merch piece. So I think that'll be really fun, just to get some last promo out before the year ends. So really those three main things. The Patreon, Music Mondays Awards, and Music Mondays merch. So those three things are kind of be, super important to kind of get out before the year ends. And then, of course, tying up some loose ends. Playlists are good, things like that. Make sure the YouTube's up to date. Make sure a lot of things are up to date. Make sure the staff's up to date. So like I said, more so just tying up some loose ends and making sure that the award show goes well. So that'll be awesome. But let's see here. So that's kind of the big scope of things when it comes to the Music Mondays platform and the Music Mondays podcast in general. But of course, your weekly and monthly content will be staying the same, right? So a lot of your playlist updates, like I said, articles, the podcasts, playlists like SoundCloud Sunday, those all stay the same. So outside of that, so that's what's coming over the course of the next month or so. And then I do want to talk recruiting. So per usual, we are recruiting, but we are definitely looking to add a couple more staff members before the end of the year. So again, if you're interested in any of our roles, definitely let us know. We are looking for writers, curators, journalists, designers, short form, long form media content. If you want to do any of those things and kind of dive into the Music Mondays world, kind of tap into what we're doing, definitely let us know. Send us your resume. Even if you don't have a resume, we're always willing to take on new creators as well. If you're kind of new to the space and new to journalism or new to designing or anything like that, and you just want to contribute to Music Mondays, I'm sure there's definitely a place for you. So again, definitely let us know if that's something you're interested in. We'll be definitely putting out a recruiting flyer maybe before the end of the year, but if not, at the top of the new year for sure. I just feel like at the top of the new year would probably be good, but we could definitely put one out before the end of the year as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But again, we are looking for all roles for the Music Monday staff team. I think we're looking to add like 2 or 3 more members. So again, recruiting will stay open until we have like a full staff that we can kind of rotate. But yeah, that's kind of the drill with that. So Music Mondays is recruiting. And again, if you have any questions about the Music Mondays roles or Music Mondays staff team or anything like that, we actually do have a role guide on the Music Mondays YouTube channel where I kind of break down the roles in a little bit more detail, where we kind of break down, what each role does and what each role is kind of required to do, and what you'll be contributing and your benefits and things like that. So definitely go check out that on the Music Mondays YouTube channel. And of course, I'll be updating that going into the new year. A lot of those guides will be getting a new upgrade, but you won't see that until like springtime or so. But yes, so Music Mondays is recruiting. One more thing I do want to talk about is SoundCloud exclusives. So we do have a brand new SoundCloud exclusive dropping this week. I'm gonna keep it a surprise. I'm not gonna tell you who it is, but again, if you'd like to have an unreleased SoundCloud track hosted and promoted for free across all of our socials and of course our SoundCloud, definitely let us know. Feel free to do whatever you want with the track afterwards. You want to go upload it to Spotify and all platforms, that's fine too. But we're only interested in the unreleased SoundCloud version to not only show some love to artists, right, but to show some love to our SoundCloud audience and make sure we're archiving some music and doing a little bit more over there on SoundCloud, So again, if you'd like to have a unreleased SoundCloud track hosted and promoted for free across all of our socials and of course on our SoundCloud, definitely let us know. And we'll be happy to kind of work that out with you. And of course, the same goes for YouTube as well. So again, when it comes to YouTube and you have a music video, you have a visual, you have even audio, AMVs, anything like that, you have an unreleased anything that you like to have hosted and promoted across all of our socials and the Music Mondays YouTube channel for free of almost 300 subscribers, definitely let us know, because again, we'd be happy to work that out for you. Definitely interested in having conversations about that. We've hosted quite a few things on our YouTube channel, but I definitely want to get way more into the YouTube side of things as well. So again, definitely let us know if that's something you're interested in, because we'd be happy to do some drops over there on YouTube for any music videos or visuals or lyric videos or even audio. So anything we're totally down for. So definitely let us know. So outside of that, I think that's pretty much all the exclusive jazz that we got to talk about. We went over the weekly recap. We did what's coming on Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so. We talked recruiting. We talked exclusives. Yeah, I think we're good. That's pretty much like all like the major jazz. I definitely wanted to kind of get that done before we kind of talk about 200 episodes of the Music Mondays podcast. So that'll be our discussion segment for tonight. That'll be really interesting and really, really awesome. And I think we're just going to start from the beginning. Honestly, I kind of wanted to not really keep it simple is the phrase I wanted to use, but I definitely wanted to kind of like start back from the beginning and talk about why this platform even exists and why the show made it this far and how we even made it to 200 episodes and things like that. So let me sip some coffee and let's start from the beginning. Let's talk for a bit, and we'll dive into some reactions and reviews right after this. So, man. Okay. So, for those of you that don't know, my name is Nom Slays. I am not just some random person from the internet that decided to make a podcast one day. I've been in the underground space for about 8 years. I started making music in 2017. I released my first beat in 2017, actually. And then that same year, I founded a platform with a few other creators titled UVC, Underground Vampire Club, and UVC was the acronym. So when it comes down to UVC and things like that, what we were kind of in the business of doing was exactly what Music Mondays does now, is promote underground artists that actually deserve it, right? We weren't kind of doing memes and things like that. We weren't really following like the mainstream kind of underground, right? We were really looking for artists with like quite literally 10 followers and like 2 SoundCloud tracks. You know what I mean? Like we weren't super interested in anything that was like big at the time, even if it was like semi like mainstream. Like we just cut it out. Like we were purely underground enthusiasts, and a lot of us were artists to begin with, right? But when we founded UVC, my main role was writing. I got recruited for writing, and I didn't know shit about writing. Right? I had a high school diploma, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'll give it a whirl." And I remember I wrote like 2 reviews, and I knew that reviews weren't going to be um, something that I really enjoyed. Right? I think reviews are kind of like not my style of writing. I know a lot of people do really well with reviews, right? But it just wasn't my thing. So after that, I continued to write interviews. I can definitely write like bios and things like that and press kits, but when it comes to like pure reviews, I think reviews are special talent, definitely. But again, past that point, I started to write interviews, right? And I started conducting live interviews with tons of artists over the course of 2017 to about 2020. And then I split ways with UVC. UVC eventually got sold to SoundCloud, and now it kind of lies dormant and defunct. That platform's kind of dead. The pages don't really do anything, and it's kind of left to underground history. So, fast forward to 2020. At that time, I probably had like 70 articles under my belt, a good like 50 of them being interviews, and then I kind of didn't know what to do, right? Because I think it was like September of 2020, like it was in the later half of 2020 for sure. That was the first time I had been independent in my career since the start, essentially, right? Because I pretty much started, was producing beats for like 3-4 months, joined UVC, became entrenched into the underground scene. And then when 2020 hit, I was independent for the first time. So I was like, fuck, okay, what am I going to do? And independent not being like contract independent. Contract, we didn't do any of that. We were very young back then. I think I was like 21. You know what I mean? And everybody else was like 18, and there's a couple of people that were like 25. So like like we were younger. So there wasn't any like contracts involved. What I mean by independent was like I was freelance is what I do want to say. Freelance is definitely the better word there. That was the first time in my career I was ever like alone. I was like, fuck, like what am I gonna do? Because I still had like all the connections to like, I still had all my homies, I still had all the artist connections, but I was by myself for the first time. So I was like, okay, how the fuck am I gonna deal with this? Because I have this stacked resume. I have a cool library of songs. I've been in the scene for like 4 years at this point. What's my next move? So I kind of took the rest of the year off, right? From like September 2020 to like probably like I guess December was when I kind of started rolling around an idea of my head of starting my own podcast, right? Because I think around at that time, the big thing was podcasts, right? I think it was like before like the podcast bro era where, it was like a meme to start a podcast and shit like that. It was like right before that. It was right before like the big podcast boom. And I was always a yapper to begin with. I'd always love to talk, but I didn't know what to talk about at the time. But then it kind of dawned on me that like I had a lot of information and a lot of tips and tricks and a lot of like experiences to share over the course of like the last 4 years of being in like, underground blogging and writing and, seeing underground artists like go from zero to hero, like with my own 2 eyes. So I was like, there's a lot of information that I kind of have that I feel like would be beneficial to the scene. So originally, I just started this as a podcast. Like it wasn't meant to be a platform yet. I think for the first probably like 10 episodes, it was known as Zom Slays Music Mondays was the original name. And like I was checking tweets before I went live just to like make sure I wasn't tripping. And it was a good first 10 episodes where I kind of was just doing this as a podcast, right? Like there was no submissions, like you couldn't submit. It was just me ranting for an hour about underground politics, the underground scene, the pandemic, do's and don'ts, and things like that, right? But it was still just an hour. And then, doing it live was one thing, right? Because not everybody was doing live shows back then, especially during 2020. Everybody was kind of just recording them and posting them. But I was one of the only like live shows. But I wasn't even streaming on PC yet. I was streaming directly from my console, right? With some Skate 3 gameplay in the background. So it was quite literally like the bare minimum. Like, when I tell you that Music Mondays was like, it was really just like a passion project for me at the time, just to see if I could like really do it, right? And that was where I think about, because like I said, the first 10 episodes was known as Zomslay's Music Mondays. And then after a while, it kind of started to dawn on me that, like, maybe I should get submissions to be played here on the show. Maybe I should kind of do, a certain amount of X, Y, or Z here on the show. So I was like, So I started fiddling around in my head about really what I wanted to do when it came to this. And eventually, I started taking submissions, but I started taking submissions before Music Mondays was even a platform. So again, all this was still curated through my personal account, right? Like, this was still very young. And I'm going to pull up the tweet right now for you, actually, just because I do want to show everybody the flyer that has not seen the flyer before. Because it's actually a trip to see here. Because it wasn't long after this that we kind of launched as like a full platform. And then let's see here. Yeah, so I was collecting submissions for like 4 or 5 weeks here, it looks like. Looks like about 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah, so okay. Let's link this tweet right here. Hold on. Let's check this out, man, because this is some interesting history here for sure. But yeah, man, not a lot of people know about this lore when it came to Music Mondays, just because the platform kind of got a lot of steam pretty fast. So I didn't really like dwell on it too much. You know what I mean? I was just like, fuck it, like, who cares? Let's just keep the ball rolling, essentially. So this was the first kind of the first format and like my first post about Music Mondays, which actually is just pretty rare for those that don't know about it. So in the caption, I'm talking about in regards to a Twitter poll that I took. I want to announce my new talk show that will be live every Monday. I'll be playing Skate 3 while discussing my music, the underground climate, and music in general for about an hour or so. Episode 1 live tomorrow. And this tweet was on January 17th of 2021. So if you scroll back in the calendar, January 18th was a Monday. So 2021, 2022, 2023. So like 2024 was the 3-year anniversary. 2025 will be the 4-year, right? So this was kind of like what it really was at first. Like I didn't really think that I'd be pushing towards a full platform. You know what I mean? I really thought that I was going to continue to like build the Zomslays brand a little bit and do this for a bit longer, right? Because like I said, I left UVC in September of 2020. So this didn't happen until the start of the next year, right? So I took those couple months off and I was like, fuck, like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? And this is kind of like the first idea that I came up with. And then it kind of rolled from there. So following that, I kind of realized, like I said, once we started taking submissions and once everything kind of got a little bit more popular and people were like, oh, you should review music on your stream and you should take submissions. I think one of my homies came up with that idea originally. And I did. I started taking submissions, but like I said, I didn't start streaming on my PC up until like probably like the 10th episode or so. Like right around the time that we like launched Music Mondays as a platform and a website and had socials and Twitters and things like that is really when I started streaming on PC. But I think right around at the same time is when I was doing all of this. So everything got like a full-blown upgrade. And we ended up doing that first episode. It rolled into the full platform era. And then once we had a full platform, 2021 to 2022 was all the podcast, realistically. Like I went full-blown heavy with the podcast. We were live every single Monday. I didn't miss an episode. That's why from like that 2021 to like 2022 span, I really look at like as those grind years, because Music Mondays was really not what it is today. And it even has more infinite potential, right? But those 2 years that I put in, right, like that first year, it was pretty fucking weird, man. I won't lie to you. It was pretty fucking weird. Like coming from UVC being like such a tightened platform, right? I mean, for those of you that know what UVC is, you definitely know that that platform was on top for quite a while, especially with Underground Underdogs, Mascarilla, even Lyrical Lemonade was like much more popular than it is now when it comes to like writing and things like that. So it was a weird time. I mean, the pandemic definitely had a lot to do with it, right? I definitely think it did, but also like at first when we were collecting submissions, like that 2021, 2022 era, um, man, it was nothing but like that like local underground scene, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like people being creative. It was like those like regular like hip hop artists, super like like cookie cutter pop artists. Like it was all cookie cutter stuff. Like there wasn't anybody doing anything interesting. And then it wasn't until like the end of 2022 heading into 2023 where we really started to tap back into like the old school style of like underground music, right? And like the new generation of people that, kind of were putting on for like independent music and underground music and really coming up with some special shit. Regardless of whether you think certain people are cookie cutter or not, there's like that sonic difference of people, right? And, there was just a point where Music Mondays kind of like struck gold. And I would say like right at the end of 2022 and 2023. And then, obviously we expanded. At that point, we only had like 4 or 5 staff members, but now we have a staff of like 11 or 12. You know what I mean? So it took a while for us to kind of get our footing and really figure out like how we wanted to work the platform. Because again, the platform is centered around everything being free. We don't charge for anything. You know what I mean? Like submissions to the show are free. Submissions to our playlist are free. So like that was kind of like the goal behind it anyway. You know what I mean? Because I was like, if I'm going to make my own platform, I need to not center around just underground stuff, but I also need a platform that underground artists can go to for not only the latest underground music, right? But they can also kind of submit their work and like easily do a bunch of things for free. You know what I mean? Like there's no paywall, there's no fucking, you can't pay for articles here. You know what I mean? Like there's none of that. So that's kind of like the platform that I've always operated, and that's kind of like what I wanted to keep operating here when it came to Music Mondays. So 2023 was the real reshape of it, right? And we really like figured out like who we were. Because with me coming from such like a top tier platform, right? I wanted to just instantly like jump right back into it, right? I already knew like what we had to do, but it took time. You know what I mean? Like it took a lot of time. And that's kind of what was hard for me to understand at first. Because like I said, I had never been solo before. Like even starting a platform with like a team is much easier than this, because I didn't start Music Mondays with a team. We started UVC as like a group of like 4 or 5 people. You know what I mean? So like when you have that many working behind the scenes, these platforms tend to work better. So that's why it took us longer to kind of like get our footing and get our foot in the door and start doing real shit. So that's why, again, 2022, sort of towards the end in 2023, was like the major like turning point because we started doing our own events, right? So when it came down to the first Cyberfest in 2022, we followed that up with the Music Mondays Awards in 2022. You know what I mean? Like we were really cooking during that era, and then we started with the rebrand, right? For those of you that have never seen the OG Music Mondays logo, that'll be something that I kind of pull up, and really talk about. But it's one of those things, man. That's just like, 2023 was like the major turning point, and like we really kind of got an identity. You know what I mean? Like everything kind of started to fully come together, and that's where I was like, okay, like this is definitely starting to work, right? In like the proper way. And we got Tark in the chat. What's good, Tark? 200 episodes is fucking nuts. Absolutely fucking nuts. GG's. Let's fucking go. Tark was here for a good portion of the early days as well, man. The Music Mondays early days, 100%. 100%. But yeah, 2023, we switched our logo. Not like a massive switch or anything. Like we just had like a little bit more like a basic look. And when we went into 2023 with the full rebrand, I think that's where we kind of leveled up. And I kind of started matching the energy of like a lot of platforms that were doing things aesthetic wise, but I didn't want to like copy their content, right? Because a lot of the platforms that you see popping, they'll only cover like the same like 10 artists, right? You have like your Yeats, your Summers, your the Opium fanboys and just like that whole section, right? Like people get enough of that news on the daily, but there's not enough news of like underground artists that you've quite literally never heard of that are fucking heat, or just artists that have super passions, or they have crazy stories or things like that. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where like the Music Mondays mission and brand really came from. You know what I mean? And that's just really what it is. I mean, like when we headed into 2023, I think we were only like what, probably like 140 episodes deep of the show at the time, right? But the show was just like the show was almost like a seed to the rest of Music Mondays, essentially. You know what I mean? I kind of wanted to test the show and see if the show would work, and then I realized that there was a demand for um you know a pure underground platform, and that's always what I've known. I don't really have experience doing like the easy clickbait shit because it's super easy to follow trends and things like that. But if you're taking the hit and like wanting to only support, veteran underground artists that don't get enough love, or X, Y, or Z, I mean, you'll see us kind of like talk about mainstream stuff here or there, but that's just because somebody wants to talk about it, not because we feel like it'll get views or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like that's just because somebody wanted to talk about it on the team. So, but that main message has always stayed true for the last 3 years. You know what I mean? It really has. Um, so yeah, I mean, 2023 happened. Like I said, we had a pretty solid 2023. I mean, the rebrand was great. Um, we had the Music Mondays Awards at the end of 2023. I mean, like 2022 to 2023 was even kind of remarkable as well, because I remember hosting the Music Mondays Awards in 2022, and we had over like something like 700 followers on Twitter. And then when we did the Music Mondays Awards in 2023, we had, I think, like tripled, and we were over 2K at that point. And that's where I was like, okay, like it was like a massive jump. It was a real massive jump, but like we didn't do anything different. We didn't really have anything blow up or anything like that. Like what we did was stick to our roots and stick to the vision that I had all along. You know what I mean? Was to create this ultimate platform for any underground independent artist. And that's why I think our message on the homepage is like super important. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people have read this and like committed to the platform just based off of this, right? And I think this is super important. Music Mondays was created with one goal in mind, and that is providing the underground creative community with a place to feel like their work is given a chance. We'll prove your creative endeavors are not a waste and meant to be heard. Our mission is to create a safe space for all independent underground creators alike. We hope to see you with your cup of coffee every Monday. For the underground, by the underground. Right. Like that's really what it is in a nutshell. And then of course you have this video link down here where I kind of do a similar rant as to what I'm doing tonight, but tonight's a little bit different because we have 200 episodes in the bag now. And I don't think we would have gotten here without the community support 100%. That's not even a question. Like if we didn't have submissions to react to, if we didn't have tracks to put on the playlist, if we didn't have the community really like putting their faith in me, right? And like their trust in me to like actually be a real fucking platform, I don't think we'd be here. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that like I'm not a person that likes to pat themselves on the back, right? Because I have such big dreams and plans and goals for this platform. So I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, thank God for 200 episodes. Like, it was a great time. You know what I mean? Like, I only missed like 2 days in 200 episodes. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a bother on me. Like, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love it and feel like it helped people and feel like it's like doing good for a community that I've always loved and I've always been a part of. You know what I mean? Like uploading the show and tagging people and promoting the show constantly, like for 200 episodes. I wouldn't be doing that if that was a drag to me. You know what I mean? But the community is like such a big part of it that I think, personally, I absolutely want to say thank you. You know what I mean? Because this platform wouldn't be shit without the community, 100%. Um, we've grown exponentially over the last 2 years, because like I said, that like 2020, 2021 era was like some trenches, and we definitely made it out as like one of the purest underground platforms, right? Like true underground, like no bias, no nothing, you know what I mean? Like even in 3-4 years, like you can't say one bad thing about Music Mondays, and even if you can, that it's probably some shit that I've tried to address too, you know what I mean? Like we do our absolute best with what we're given, right? So outside of the community, Music Mondays definitely wouldn't be shit without the team as well, right? I think the Music Mondays team is super important, and all of our writers, all of our curators, all of our designers, everybody who's even been in the Music Mondays team in the past, right? As you guys know, we've rotated a lot of roster members in and out. We've seen a lot of people come and go. So huge shout out to the Music Mondays alumni and anybody who's worked with us, and huge shout out to the whole team right now. You know what I mean? I think the team is super crucial to what we do, and like the team has always been finely curated when it comes to Music Mondays. And you know, 90% of the team are artists themselves, right? They're also producers, they're also artists, they're also designers. So they understand where we come from as artists, and that was like my main edge and like my main goal was to make sure that we're a pure platform for artists by artists, right? So that's why I don't really like bring other people on to like critique other people's music or X, Y, or Z or none of that kind of shit. And that's why I made sure that I knew what I was talking about and only spoke on things that I know about. You know what I mean? Like you won't ever see me speak on things here on the show that I don't have any knowledge of. You know, like everything that I talk about or have spoken about here on the show is something that I've either personally been through or personally seen. You know, it's that simple. So, you know, I think we've done pretty well, um, kind of keeping our goal and keeping our morals and like our meaning pretty close, you know, but we wouldn't have got to 200 episodes without the community, man. And without the community support, again, we're not shit, but you guys are the reason why I do this. You know what I mean? Like my artists, the Music Mondays community, like everybody that is a part of the underground is why I do this because it's such a thriving, important space. And it always has been. You know what I mean? Like these are the artists of tomorrow. These are the artists of today. These are the artists that work their ass off and otherwise maybe might not even get a fucking look. You know what I mean? And that's facts. Like the music space and the creative space is fucking hard. And you need platforms to be able to like hear you out for a second. You know what I mean? Like doesn't matter what you make. You know, it could be some crazy pop shit. It could be some fucking alternative shit. It could be some trap shit. It could be anything. You know what I mean? Like we've seen it all here on the show. But I've seen it all personally, so that's why I kind of wanted to give like an open canvas for everybody to kind of come to, no matter what space of the underground or independent art you come from. You know what I mean? So once again, man, huge shout out to the Music Mondays community. We would not be here without you guys. And cheers to 200 episodes, man. That's fucking beautiful. Let's get it. Round of applause for everybody, man. You guys are fucking lit. Jesus Christ, 200 episodes. My God. 200 is nuts. 200 is fucking nuts. I will say, man. Um, you know, even no matter what happens, the Music Mondays podcast will always be here for sure. The show will always be here. The platform will always be here. Um, you know, our vision is not changing. Platform's going to continue to grow. Everything that we do will always be free and easily accessible to the community. So, cheers to another 200, man, and congrats on 200. Let's fucking get it. Amazing, man. Truly amazing. 200 episodes. I mean, I could talk about Music Mondays like all day. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that's it's really something else. It's really something else. I mean, we have such a long road to go, so I don't like to like pride too much on accolades, but I definitely will be celebrating a little bit tonight and congratulating some people and thanking some people for sure personally, and just wanted to give my personal thanks to the community, and I'm definitely gonna post that clip on like Twitter and shit like that, so nobody misses it. But you'll see this uploaded on YouTube as well, so make sure you go check that out. But what would 200 episodes be like if we didn't have some reactions and reviews? Yeah, fuck me, let's go. Okay, so that's time of the show. You guys know the drill. Let's get into it. Tweets are always in the same format, and they'll always read. Artists and creatives. Submissions are open for live reviews on Music Mondays, live on November 18th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Twitch.tv/ZonPlays, which is here and now. If you'd like to submit your music, artwork, fashion, and digital creations, drop your links and portfolios below. All art forms are welcome. So per usual, contrary to our name, Music Mondays, kind of like I just yapped about for like 10 minutes, we've reacted to pretty much everything here on the show. Everything from, obviously, vocals to instrumentals, to music videos, to lyric videos, to unreleased music, photography, videography, writing, poetry, unreleased edits, YouTube edits. Like, we've reacted to pretty much all of it here on the show, so feel free to drop whatever links and portfolios or kind of submissions you have, because Music Mondays is open to all of it. And, of course, the main logic behind that being You know, a lot of underground creatives are multi-talented, right? A lot of designers are also vocalists. A lot of vocalists are also producers. A lot of producers are also engineers. You know what I mean? So people like to show off all different aspects of their skills. So we wanted to make sure that we kind of gave love to everybody, you know. But per usual, drop your links to portfolios below. All our forms are welcome. 4 hour show limits. Of course, that's just to kind of make the show a little bit more palatable to watch back. Sometimes a 4 hour show is even a little bit too much to watch back, but it's a little bit, a little bit shorter than our earlier shows when we used to do like 6-7 hour shows. I don't even know how I used to do that back in the day, man. I'll tell you, in 2021, when I was doing the 6-7 hour shows, boy, I don't know how I was doing that. I don't know how I was. I have a lot more on my plate now than I did back then, though. You know, because I have like a whole team under me and shit. So, but yeah, 4 hour show limit just to make the show a little bit more palatable to watch back, and make sure that you can kind of get a decent show in. But per usual, just keep that in mind. And of course, submissions are free. They always have been free. They always will be free. The only thing that we do ask is that you're following Music Mondays on Twitter to be eligible. Not only does that show support to our platform and spread our message, right? But that just helps pay respect to everybody else that does wait for their submissions to be reacted to every single week. So that's the only thing that I do ask is that you're following Music Mondays on Twitter before you do submit. And of course, Patreon subscribers submissions are played first every single week here on the show. So if you're subscribed to the Music Mondays Patreon at any tier, you gain access to a bunch of goodies, including the Music Mondays Fast Pass, which allows you, for the duration that you're subscribed to the Music Mondays Patreon, to be able to get your submissions played first every single week here on the show. So it is guaranteed to be able to be played every single week. So, per usual, huge shout out to all of our Patrons right now. Huge shout out to Mark, Jordan, Ryuki, Kruker, and Laveris. You guys are awesome. And anybody else who's following or has subbed to the Music Mondays Patreon. Oh, and the homie Drama Eyes just came through and resubbed as well. Huge shout out to Drama Eyes. Couple Patreon updates coming later this month. So outside of that, one other thing that we do got to discuss is submissions closed. So submissions do close about a couple hours before the show starts, just because we like to get a little bit of a head count, see what the show's going to look like and things like that. We are a live show, and we like to keep it free flow, so we don't want any like late submissions or anybody kind of cutting through and it's like, yo, let me drop a link and things like that. We just want to make sure that we get to all of our submissions promptly and give everybody like a fair amount of time, you know what I mean? So just keep that in mind. You have about like 6.5 days to get your submissions in, so plenty of time, but just keep that in mind. A good rule of thumb is that the show is already live. Submissions are probably closed, so make sure you submit your tracks for tomorrow for next week's show, episode 201. So outside of that, that's pretty much everything you need to know about the Music Mondays podcast, my friends. Anything else that you'd like to know, definitely send us a DM, send us a question, send us an email, anything like that. We're totally down. And of course, we do have a how to submit to the Music Mondays podcast YouTube guide on our channel right now, where I kind of break down the lore of the Music Mondays podcast and why we take submissions on Twitter, our submissions process, and things like that. So definitely go check that out and go show that some love as well. So outside of that, I think we're good. We are good, my friends. So let's dive in. Let's do our Patreons first tonight, and then we're going to dive into the rest of the community, top to bottom. You guys know the drill. So let's see here. I think 2 Patrons in a row right here. We love that. Just 2 tonight, I believe. Hold on, let's double check. Want to make sure. Got to make sure. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Let's do this. And we got Onwuka in the chat. Salute to your grind, man. Sick to hear all the background and what. Yeah, right. Of course. Huge shout out to Onwuka, man. You know, if it wasn't for the show, we probably wouldn't have come across certain people like Onwuka and things like that. You know what I mean? So that's why the show is super important, because undiscovered artists like Onwuka and so many others that we've met over the course of the last year are so important to the community, man. Like, so important to the community. Like, true underground talent that are, like, actually fucking grinders. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're looking for. So, it's been a pleasure, my friend. It's definitely been a pleasure. And I'm ready for another 200. That's for sure. That's a fact. So, our first Patreon of the night is the homie Jordan, a very, very multi-talented artist, has submitted another track from their latest project, Longwing, titled Poison. Reposting now that the Spotify link is live. Let's get it. I'm down to open the Spotify link. Longwing by Deadlighters is out now. Let's get it. I'm down. Okay, so let's see where this placed on the track list. Okay, so we got Poison. Wow, this is 13 deep, huh? Okay. Oh, shit. All right, I'm down. All right, Poison, track 6, about halfway through the project. Let's get into it. Deadlighters, Jordan, Poison, let's go.
Kick rocks, I'ma raise the dead up. Funky smelling dead lungs rotting in the ground. Gas burn coming up in my lungs, sicker than a dead skunk eaten by the hounds. Kick rocks, I'ma raise the dead up. Funky smelling dead lungs rotting in the ground. Gas burn coming up in fragments. I could pull the pain, I'm rising out the ground.
Okay. Wow. Hmm. Wow. I see why Jordan submitted that now. I totally see why Jordan submitted this one. Holy shit. Filter, what's good, homie? Welcome on in. Happy motherfucking Monday. It's been a minute. How we doing? I agree on Wooker though. I totally agree. Very intricate. Such a pure instrumental, right? I totally think this was like very much on point. Um, wow. Wow. Man, this will be fun. This will be fun to break down for sure. Filter, happy episode 200. Let's fucking get it, baby. Happy episode 200, man. We chilling. Let's fucking go, man. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. Let's go. So you guys know the drill, man. Let's break this down because this one was very interesting, especially for like a track 6, right? It definitely serves as like a nice interlude almost. You know what I mean? It really does. So let's break it down. Let's talk about it. We're gonna talk about 3 things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental. We're gonna talk about vocals. Yeah, we'll talk about vocals actually. Actually, we'll talk about vocals definitely. And we'll talk about the overall theme of Poison. That's something I put in my sleep playlist and Lucid Dream. Right? Yeah, no, it totally has that like calm interlude, but like Onwuka said, very like haunting, kind of eerie sound as well. Um, okay, so let's talk instrumental. I think the instrumental is kind of like the big player here. Vocals are almost serving as like an instrument, right? They're kind of like serving as like really good ad libs and really good effects, but like the instrumental itself is so finely crafted that it's like, you just can't ignore like how big of a part of the song this is. But the mix, fantastic. I mean, not really a shocker. Jordan's always kind of been one of those artists, especially over the last like year or so, where you very rarely are going to catch like an off mix from them. You know, especially with sometimes using a lot of live instrument based instrumentals. Sometimes mixing can be a little bit tedious and can be a bitch here or there. But I find that Jordan and Deadlighters make more creative junk. They kind of do a really good job, tightening up their mixes and really serving like high quality sounding tracks in general. To be honest. So again, not really a shocker here, but something I always want to point out for anybody that's new and doesn't know that. But the mix very solid. Instrumental Shining Star, I kind of knew this towards the end, especially when like the drums really really kicked in. About like halfway through the song, maybe towards like the later half, I was like, dude, the structure straight up just tells a story. It's a massive fade in, it's a slow build, and then the melodies come in, and then the drums come. It's just like one of those like builds that's just you could see it right on the dot, and it does so well sometimes because like this is one where like Jordan and Deadlighters really stretched it. You know what I mean? Like they really really stretched you here, and it's a good 312. It's not like a repetitive 312. So I'm gonna go with structure. I mean, structure clears here. I love how this was just built and really ended up. The final product is great. So I would say drums are a close second, melodies too, but the structure is just super super up there. You know what I mean? Like super super up there. So definitely structure. Structure clears. Instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. So obviously minimal vocal use here. I wouldn't say like a complete verse or anything like that, but I did want to touch on it slightly because using vocals in this fashion is like very underrated. Especially for this like interlude kind of deal, right? Where you're kind of you're filling in the gaps, but you might have this like fire vocal take or something like that. Like you could be sitting in the studio and like you could like, record some vocals that you might not know what to do with or they might not fit on the project at hand, but you can use them for like later, right? Or even just like half ass. And this is one of those cases where I feel like some extra vocals or some like throwaway B-side shit was really well utilized and like fully like put to use. So I like the way the vocals come in here. The mix though, I feel like the mix is great because they still have this like ad lib kind of backseat. They're not like full blown vocals in the track, so they do kind of take a backseat to the instrumental, but you can still enjoy them as a listener. So the mix is great. Vocal Shining Star, I would probably say structure just because of the way that they're used. You know what I mean? I really like the way that they're used. Definitely structure for sure. It just has every good perk of an interlude. It really does. So instrumental solid, definitely structure. Vocal solid, definitely structure. Theme. So I spoke a little bit about the Long Wing cover over the last couple weeks, but this is one where obviously it totally passes like the project vibe. But one thing I really like about this is like the camo direction. I've said this a couple times, but for those of you that weren't here, the camo direction is some of my favorite shit on this cover. So this is why I always like talking about this. But again, simple, straight to the point, but it screams project, but it's also got that like eye-catching kind of color to it. You know what I mean? So again, it's still hitting all the boxes and kind of probably hits the aesthetic that Deadlighters was probably going for. You know what I mean? So aesthetic's definitely on point. So Poison overall theme. I wouldn't I mean Poison, you could kind of take it deep, right? Like you could go like conspiracy theory, like look like super hard into it and take a look at it from like the vocal perspective. You know what I mean? As if somebody was being poisoned or sending out poison and kind of like that like Onwuka said, that haunting eerie kind of feel. Like it does have that poisonous kind of sting to it a little bit. You know what I mean? So I do see the poison kind of title direction, but also this is one where I wouldn't look too deep on the theme either, just because it does fit really well with the rest of the titles as well, and it's sort of holding the place as like an interlude-esque kind of track, right? Um, so again, I wouldn't look too deep on this one. This is one where you definitely got to enjoy the instrumental aspects of it. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the Long Wing cover kind of looks like Poison. No, like it looks like that effect on like a video game or like what it would look like under a microscope. Kind of looks like Poison, huh? Yeah. So there's there's some shit that you could try to connect here for sure if you wanted to take the time. But regardless, well done. Huge shout out to Jordan and Deadlighters. Thank you guys so much for the submission. Make sure you go follow them on Spotify, and of course follow the homie Jordan on Twitter. They are approaching 500 followers again. Make sure you go show them some love, man. 12 followers away from 500, so go show them some love. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel. We upload 2 times a week. We're approaching 300 subscribers. We upload quite literally full podcasts, underground tips and tricks, exclusive segments, whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel, man. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you for showing love to Music Mondays, my friends. Let's fucking go. What a crazy start. I like that one a lot. That was like a picture perfect interlude for me. 100%. It really was. But huge shout out to the homie Jordan. Up next is our last Patreon of the night, but certainly not least, the homie Laveries sent in Olivia Rodrigo. For those of you that don't know, Laveries has been hot off their Recession rap release. They've been kind of cranking out visuals, promo, music videos, things like that. But this week, we're going to be reacting to Olivia Rodrigo. So for those of you that are frequent viewers of the Music Mondays podcast, you know that we got a little bit of a snippet of Olivia Rodrigo on Laveries' SoundCloud, probably like a month ago or something like that. But this will be interesting. We've got Offspring Mysterious in the chat. Happy 200. Happy 200, my friend. Let's fucking go. Offspring Mysterious actually, Pit Stop is the Music Mondays fucking veteran. Okay, Offspring has been submitting to the Music Mondays podcast since, I believe, 2022. I want to say 2022, 100%. Probably like halfway through the year. So huge shout out to Offspring, man. But welcome on in. Happy Monday. So let's see here. So we've reacted to Dedicated, Toast One, Rich by 21, Walt White, and this week we're going to do Olivia Rodrigo. So 5 of 7. Let's get into it. Laveries, Olivia Rodrigo. Let's go.
So fucking crazy that it must be ghost produced.
My bitch kinda raw, kinda pop, Olivia Rodrigo. She gon' give me top inside a jar.
Oh, yeah. This is gonna be cooked.
My bitch kinda raw, kinda pop, Olivia Rodrigo. She gon' give me top inside a jar. Yeah, that's my little freako. She gon' say I'm shallow, but she'll stick it up and give me deep. Throw want me to herself, but I gotta do these shows. Ayy, my bitch kinda raw, kinda pop, Olivia Rodrigo. She gon' give me top inside a drive. Yeah, that's my little freako. She gon' sound shallow, but she'll stick it up and give me deep. Throw want me to herself, but I gotta do these shows. Ayy, vampire bitch, and she let us at the dick. Put it in the gut, she don't want us make a flick. That's my little shit, that's the one I like to kick it with. Might bring her to the States and make them American bitch. You got them lacy panties on, I wanna take them off. Don't bother making a bed, you know you just gon' take them sheets off. I'm so obsessed with you cause you let me hit it raw. You my favorite crime, man, I don't get fucked by laws. My bitch kinda raw, kinda pop, Olivia Rodrigo. She gon' give me top inside a job. Yeah, that's my little freako. She gon' sound shallow, but she'll stick it up and give me deep. Throw want me to herself, but I gotta do these shows. Ayy, my bitch kinda raw, kinda pop, Olivia Rodrigo. She gon' give me top inside a job. Yeah, that's my little freako. She gon' sound shallow, but she'll stick it up and give me deep. Throw want me to herself, but I gotta do these shows. Ayy.
U.S. economy right now is in a recession.
Recession rap.
Crazy,
I
actually.
miss it. I need it. Their art is just not reflective of the times that we're living in.
No. Dude, those recession tags are so crazy. They just do so well at like the start and stop of each song, man. It's great. It's absolutely great. But this is crazy. I feel like this track list is really well curated because now that we've heard Olivia Rodrigo, this project just gets better and better the deeper you get into it, which is really, really fucking interesting. So, yeah. Each song it's not like it's better than the last one, but it's almost like an improvement on the last one. You know what I mean? Like, this one is like all about like flow and cadence and delivery. Like, Laveries really killed this one. So, let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. All right, three things: the instrumental, vocals, and we're talking about the overall theme of Olivia Rodrigo. So, instrumental. I love this instrumental again, just because it's another one that Laveri's kind of at this point, it's not like they went out of their way, because like there's a couple like different types of instrumentals that Laveri's normally wouldn't kind of hop on, but now that we're like 5 tracks in, now you kind of gotten used to it as like the project goes on, right? So not really a shocker that he hopped on this now, but I almost felt like by this point, Laveri's was like used to this style, and they kind of had like a good idea on like what they wanted to do and how to approach an instrumental like this. So I like the choice. Ghost definitely killed it for sure, but Laveri's is like almost like very seasoned with these styles of instrumentals now, like these alternative rock, alternative hip hop kind of you know, just darker styles. So instrumental mix solid. Not one instrumental on this whole project has been off-putting at all. Sound selection's great, melodies are great, drums cut through nicely, vocals are great. Nothing that I would like ultimately switch on here when it comes to the instrumental mix, really, to be honest with you. Definitely like hitting that like nice sweet spot, and is very consistent with the rest of the project as well. I think that's something I want to note too, is like it's stayed very consistent. Like tracks 1 through 5 are very much on the same vibe. So I feel like the engineering here is really well done. So instrumental mix solid, instrumental shining star. Hmm. I like the melodies a lot, right? But I feel like the drums kind of clear here. I like the melodies, but the drums are very, very solid. Like Ghost is a really, really good drummer, and like how they place their drums is just fantastic. So for me, drums, but melodies are a close second for sure, definitely. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix is solid. Again, very consistent with the rest of the project, but crisp, clean, clear, straight to the point. Nothing too crazy. Not really trying to do too much when it comes to effects and things like that. So, yeah, man, I'm definitely big on the mix of the whole project as a whole. I feel like Laveri's like went out of their box to like um hop on instrumentals like these, right? But also at the same time, they didn't really like switch up their vocal style too much to try to match it and do something that they normally wouldn't do, because it might have sounded off-putting or anything like that. So I'm glad Laveri's kind of went with like their own like vocal style. So vocal mix here, great. Vocal shining star, definitely flow and cadence and delivery. Like this was a fun listen through and through, like start to finish. You know what I mean? Especially with like the hook and like just Laveri's like doing their like braggadocious kind of like harder style. Like it was definitely like a significant improvement. Like each track is almost just like a level up, like I said at the start. You know what I mean? So this is one where it's like, damn, like this motherfucker killed this whole shit. You know what I mean? You're like, fuck. So this is one where I feel like Laveri's really matched the energy of the instrumental for sure. So for me, flow, cadence, and delivery. Instrumental solid, definitely the drums, vocal solid, flow, cadence, delivery. Let's talk theme. I have spoke a little bit about the Recession Rap cover in the last couple of weeks, but I definitely want to speak about it again for those that have missed it. This has definitely got that like old school style for me, right? Like the old school vinyl CD kind of style, the ones that you find in like the record shop that are just like in the back and things like that. Like this is one where I feel like this is like perfect for a project. I'm a big fan of these, so I'm probably a little bit biased, right? But I do like the layout of it regardless, right? I mean, you have Laveri's and Ghost at the top, Recession Rap below that. You got the Cash in the middle, a little bit of an edit there, and then the black foreground with the wrapping, parental advisory, bottom mid. So it's like, okay, like it's really giving that like old school project feel, and I really like these covers, man. Like I feel like you can never do wrong with these kind of covers, and they always go well with any aesthetic, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like they really do. So for me, aesthetic's definitely on point. Definitely gives like a good album feel to it. I mean, like think of this like on a physical, it would just be sick. It really would. So aesthetics on point. Olivia Rodrigo. I mean, the track was obviously named after the bar of Olivia Rodrigo, right? But I wouldn't immediately kind of dismiss it, right? Because I mean, Laveri's is still talking about doing shows, and Olivia Rodrigo does a lot of shows. So it's kind of like that comparison of like, sometimes you gotta be away for a grip. You know what I mean? It's like written in that aspect of like being so busy that it's similar to other artists that are even more busy. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a play on that, but also, Laverius took the opportunity to kind of like run with it. You know what I mean? So they did a good job, kind of not like dipping too hard into that, but they really like just kept writing in terms of like their perspective rather than like another person's perspective, right? So, but at the same time, you could take it the other direction too and not look super deep into it and just kind of enjoy the writing and lyricism for what it is as well. You know what I mean? So like you can really go either way, but this is one that I was definitely looking forward to when it got previewed. So well done. With that said, huge shout out to Laverius. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Laverius on Spotify, and of course, make sure you follow Laverius on Twitter. They are approaching 130 followers. They're only 2 away. So go show them some love on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube free upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 300 subscribers, man. We are only we're like 5 away. We're super close, man. We upload 2 times a week. So make sure you go show the channel and these artists some loves, man. Like I said, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, underground tips and tricks, whole lot of good jazz over there, man. So go show the channel these artists some love. And if you already have, and you're dropping likes and you're dropping comments and you're showing love to the channel, man, I see you. And we appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Let's fucking go. So, that does it for the Music Mondays Patrons of the night. Huge shout out to Jordan, Laverius, Kruker, Dry Eyes, King Mark, Ryuki, and everybody else that's even following the Music Mondays Patreon. You guys are amazing. And of course, if you'd like to have your submissions played first here on the show before everybody else's and guarantee your submissions to be played, definitely go check out the Music Mondays Patreon for a little bit more details on that and a whole bunch of other goodies over there. So huge shout out to all of our Patrons. Let's fucking go. So up next would be the homie Mishka, but we reacted to Mishka's track last week, You Can't Take It Back. So if you'd like to see us react to You Can't Take It Back, go check out episode 199 of the Music Mondays podcast. Huge shout out to Mishka. They just probably weren't sure that if we got their submission or not, but we indeed did. So huge shout out to Mishka, and feel free to resubmit tomorrow for next week's show with a track that we have not yet reacted to. Okay, so following that, we got the homie Offspring Mysterious. Now, Offspring Mysterious, a multi-talented artist, has been killing it with their YouTube side of editing and production, man. But again, Offspring known as quite literally a multi-talented artist just because, you know, they quite literally do everything from production to editing to engineering to designing to writing. So they've done a lot, man. But they've come back with a YouTube edit this week titled Spiritual Fusion. The caption is, who's ready? I'm ready. Definitely. Well, let's go. Let's fucking get it. Bam. All right. Let's crank it. 720. Full volume. Spiritual Fusion. See what we got from the homie Offspring Mysterious. Let's go. Back on the tracks, baby. Four hours later. This location is crazy. Really. That was an insane clip. Bet. Oh shit. This one was probably a bitch to edit now that I'm looking at it. For sure. Fire. It's like, oh shit, I'm ready. Not the text, bro. Not the fucking text. The reason why I didn't kill you is to hold back. Let's celebrate because it's gonna be the last time. Oh shit. No way we get the big battle in this episode, right? No shot. No shot. How did he record this? What? I have my ways. I was about to say, this is crazy. Because, like, the text is obvious, but, like, the fact that you can hear, like, the typing is so, like... That makes it way more intimate. Sent. That vibration must have been loud as hell. That was awesome. I like that a lot. No, we don't get the fight in this one. Fuck, we don't get it. No, bro. Okay. That's nuts though. This is cool. This is cool. Okay. Okay. So this one I like a lot because this one kind of has like a big plot, piece to the whole Offspring Walking Onslaught's kind of lore here, right? So when it comes to this one, I think, the big thing here to take away is that something like this was necessary, right? Because obviously the character of Offspring was kind of leveling up here, right? So we can get the rematch going. But, more towards the end, the editing is really what took off for me. So I'd say after we get through the dialogue part right here, we start to get to some of the new style stop motion that Offspring has been doing and has been really killing, to be honest with you. But I think outside of the stop motion, I mean, all this could really be considered editing, right? But I think this part right here really kind of took me for a loop because it felt so much more personal now that we kind of are into the story and we're like, okay, like we're invested. It's getting to this like short film episodic series kind of deal, so we're kind of being like drip fed slow pop points, and the story slowly getting like more intense. And like I feel like Offspring was really getting creative with this, because I don't even know if I would have thought of this. I really would have had to pull out like my filmmaker cinematic kind of bag to think of something like this, because this is like really solid. I mean, it's not like one of those like insane nobody's done it before ideas, but it's so creative and you don't see it a lot. You know what I mean? And you don't see it done like this as well, as to where, it's not just like a screen recording of text. Like it's actually like it feels personal. You know what I mean? It really, really feels personal. So this one for me, the editing absolutely fucking took off for me. The editing clears here for sure. And this is another one where it definitely like makes you hype for the next upload. You're like, oh shit, what's about to happen? So for me, Shining Star, definitely the editing, definitely the kind of whole concept in general, but I think the texting is really what put it over for me. Followed so you had the stop motion first, right? And then followed by the texting and the shit talking back. It's like, okay, this is about to be lit. So the next upload is gonna be crazy, man. So with that said, huge shout out to Offspring Mysterious. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much, much love. Make sure you go follow Offspring Mysterious on YouTube and sub to their channel. They are 9 subs away from 230. Go show them some love over there on the tube. And of course, make sure you follow Offspring Mysterious on Twitter. They are 8 followers away from 900 AW milestones. So go show them some love over there on the bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 300 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. You're welcome as always. Let's fucking get it, baby. Thank you so much for the submission, man. Let's fucking go. Let's get it, baby. All right, we left off with the homie Offspring Mysterious. Up next is the homie Onwuka. Now, Onwuka has been killing it with their submissions lately, man. We've been kind of diving back into the Onwuka archive, right? And slowly going through their whole discog, and we're kind of diving into some real original shit here. Some Onwuka that we have yet to dive into. And I'm excited. So Onwuka, being a very talented hip-hop artist, submitted Natty D's. All right, might be a top 10 Onwuka track. That's crazy. That's crazy. All about me creating natural disasters on the track. Some of the most OP writing. You let me put my Solid Snake in the box. I'll hold things straight stunt mode. Okay. So we got a big vouch here from Onwuka that this could be a top 10, maybe even top 5 on the podcast. Onwuka track, man. I'm down. Oh shit, and we got some lyrics in the description? Oh shit, I'm so down. All right, let's get into it. Onwuka, Natty D's, let's go. It's gonna be crazy.
When I be coming down like acid rain when I be spraying the thing.
Spraying the thing.
And you know who I be.
Okay.
I'm one of the Nigerian G's, and I got this special ability.
Ability.
Disaster.
I'm down.
I'm a master, just like a link source. Spitting natural disasters, yeah, I straight think source. Grinding, I'm molding them skates that break wall. Double serving the helpings, yeah, you know, oh, me more. I'm burning the melting brass, but they chill like the seashore. I be lurking all stealthy, she let me put my Solid Snake in the box to see if it leaks. Sweet. Switching up my blow, you know, going for a detour. For a second to talk about how my D's helping. I get back to wrecking, they trying to
Holy fuck.
Lines go longer than the ones you find at weed stoves. I got love in my heart, but that's also where greed store. They cuffing the bra, but I mean she ain't giving that free sauce. My deep pressed down, and the old man gonna be looking depressed now like he eat, or I keep it 100, but you can call me a sheep, or cause I'm coming to taste on something thicker than a meat.
What the fuck?
Just like a link sword, spitting natural disasters. Yeah, I straight think storms. Grinding a mold of them skates that bring.
Holy shit.
The helpings that you know, oh, need more. I'm purging these vermin words. I'm blurting so determined, like an honest student's learning. Climb the book to be working. At the bar, but the losers hurting them all bruising. Flirting chick with a bluish hue, but dude, my fingers go when surfing. The spit sick, you need that Wooka flu. Going in like tweezers with the words. I be perfect. I'm an actual rapper that can spit natural disasters. Keep it spinning like tornadoes, they can barely keep it spinning like Drake-Duh. No, I'm spitting with a flow that is so fatal. It's Wooka, you dig? My future's bigger like my face tall. See me coming down like when waves fall. People running around freaking out cause I'm way soft. But I'm trying to get my pockets girth and make the earthquake straight burst cave. Wedding like a layers being served in a great hall. I'm repping for the players. Others have the hate cause they don't know how to be player at all. Bars hit you quicker than a rock slide. At the party sipping champagne with dames all bubbling like peroxide. Panic rumbling when I talk my hot job. Carrying no fumbling, they stumbling more than a drunken junkie who is cockeyed. Wondering if they'll survive. I'm a hurricane spliced with acid rain. I'm point like hot God. Lightning like a while the beat is thundering. A band is like so savage, main like Stormbreaker. I'm the storm creator. They can destroy and displace your organic matter when I go and grab the hammer. Mine is a mic, going through my bars, then a broad's getting brunch while they plaster. So high it's like my throw moves the stars in space pods next to Saturn. Intergalactic, when I spat it, then I flung it down like a meteor. Erratic liquid blast and pass it out.
What?
Just like an easy score. Up like skyward, just like a link sword. Ninja, hero of time, Nigeria, Negro with grind. Make scenes appear in your mind. Yeah, for show G mind tunes. I spritz a typhoon that ignites to an M-night cycle. See me creating the signs inside of the blue. I'm a master, just like a link sword. Spitting natural disasters. Yeah, I straight think storms. Grinding a mold in them skates that break war. Double serving the helpings. Yeah, you know, oh, need more. I'm a master, just like a link sword. Spitting natural disasters. Yeah, I straight think storms. Grinding a mold in them skates that break war. Double serving the helpings. Yeah, you know, oh, need more. You know, oh, need more. You know, oh, need more. Cause you know who I be.
Wow. Felt like we were just on a roller coaster.
I'm an actual rapper that can spit a natural disaster.
Holy shit,
Destroy
man.
your clique, cause your factions to shatter. Cause that's who I be. A Nigerian G with the ability to spit a natural disaster.
Okay. All right. Wow. Fuck. That feeling, that feeling of being on a roller coaster, for those of you that have been to any amusement park ever, or even just ridden any kind of ride, that feeling when you've just been speeding for a grip, right? And then you just come off to a stop and you're just like, your hair's all fucked up and shit, and you're like, oh shit. That's what that felt like. That's absolutely what that felt like for sure. Might be a top 10 on Wooka track. I would have to agree. I definitely, like, even if it's not in your top 5 as a listener, this has got to be top 10. No fucking way. 100% I agree. For sure. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. This song where I was trying to prove the skills. Right. Wrote this in 2021. Thought of all the natural disaster-ish, and Xavier Genius called it Natty D. Yeah. Right. Because of the Sleazy Project and Natty D. Yeah, nah. Like, Natty D's heat. I like that a lot. Because, like, natural disaster. Yeah. Like, that's a great play on words, too, you know? All right. So let's talk about this, man. Let's get into it. Let's break it down. Let's see what we got here. So we're going to talk about 3 things. We're going to talk about the instrumental, we're going to talk about vocals, and we're going to talk about the overall theme of Natty D. So, let's talk instrumental. So I like the choice off rip because it's one of those like fast-paced, like trap style, hip-hop style instrumentals that someone of Onwuka's caliber was almost guaranteed to kill. Just because if you're like that much of like a skilled writer, or you're that much of like a, like a true rap artist, I think beats like these are like not easy, but it's one of those things that you could like easily like flex on. You know what I mean? Like really, really flex on. So I feel like that's what Onwuka really did here, if I'm being honest with you. Like they really put their all into this. So I like the instrumental choice like off rip, 100%. But instrumental mix is great as well. I feel like vocals sat nice, drums cut through nicely. Nothing clashing, too overbearing. Nothing that I would like ultimately change here as far as the instrumental goes. Um, yeah, I mean, like everything's kind of perfect on it. Like Onwuka sounds really good on this, and the drums still really, really cut through nicely. Melody's great, sound selection's great. I really have no gripes for this one, like at all. So, instrumental mix very solid, very, very solid. Not really a shocker, but something you always want to point out, Hmm. So instrumental Shining Star. I like the melody. I do like the melody, but the drums really keep up the pace like super well. They keep the rhythm up, and the sound selection on the drums is really solid. I like the kick a lot. I'm such a sucker for that kind of side of things when they're done like this. You know what I mean? It's such like a it just keeps the rhythm up so well, and like I feel like this one really matched Onwuka's pace. So for me, definitely the drums, 100% the drums. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix, absolutely fantastic. Again, Onwuka is one of the most consistent artists we've ever had here on the show. I could probably think of like 5 more or something like that, but Onwuka definitely has had a very consistent mix since day one, even for some of their like older tracks that might not be as quote unquote polished. You'll never hear like a sketchy mix from Onwuka like at all. So, for me, vocal mix fantastic. Super clean, crisp, clear, straight to the point. Nothing that I would like super deeply change on this at all. You know what I mean? Because like I always say, Onwuka has a really solid natural voice, so it's not something you really want to like over process with effects and stuff like that, unless that was of course what you were going for, right? I mean, if that's the case, but that's not. So you want to really exploit Onwuka's natural voice. So vocal mix very solid. Vocal Shining Star, I mean, you can't read these lyrics and not say it's writing. It totally is writing, 100%. Vocal Shining Star is totally writing. And then to come in with this verse right here is crazy. Like actually crazy. They come from abroad, but that don't mean she ain't giving out free tours. I was like, what the fuck? That like this is some writing, like some real big dog writing here for sure. So that's where I'm like, okay. I mean, there's no way you're reading that and listening to this track and not saying writing, 100%. I mean, flow and cadence you can make like an argument for, right? But for me, definitely writing, no doubt. So instrumental solid, definitely the drums. Vocal solid, definitely the writing. Let's talk theme. So aesthetics. I spoke a little bit about the sleazy cover last week. I think the thing here is like going this direction is always tough, but I think the thing that separates this cover from like your average kind of like sleazy cover is the fact that it's like it's got this like hand like DIY kind of like do it yourself kind of element, like it's very much original aesthetics, so I feel like it's definitely project worthy and like has that like originality to it that I think a project with this name totally clears with. I mean, this is like kind of the direction you want to go because super simple as well. Like Xavier, Onwuka, top, right, and left, sleazy, bottom, mid. I mean, great. You know what I mean? It does a great job kind of like getting the project across without trying to like do too much, So I feel like this cover really like hit the nail on the head for me. So aesthetics on point. Let's talk overall theme. So Natty D's, I mean, Onwuka explained it pretty well here too. All about me creating natural disasters on the track. But of course, with the sleazy project and the Natty D's and the double D's, you know what I mean? So like, it's kind of like this great play on words for the sleazy project. So I feel like the fact that they came up with that was great. You know what I mean? Definitely not a theme you want to look super deep into. It's definitely an Onwuka flex track where they really show that they're a very, very skilled artist when it comes to writing and delivery and flows and cadence and the lyrical ability is just through the roof, so definitely not one you want to like dig for a theme for, but definitely you want to enjoy for the the lyrical and writing content for 100%. So, well done, my friend. Well done. Thank you so much for the submission on Wuka. Make sure you go show them some love on the cloud. They are quite literally 4 followers away from 70. So go show them some love over there on SoundCloud, man. And of course, make sure you go follow Anuka on Twitter. They are 6 followers away from 800. So go show them some love on the bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 300 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. Okay, so we finished off with the homie on Wuka. Up next would be the homie Jordan and Laveries back to back, but they are Music Mondays Patreons. So we actually already listened to their tracks at the start of the show. So make sure you go check out the top of episode 200. Go show Jordan and Laveries some love. And huge shout out to the rest of our Music Mondays Patrons. You guys are also fucking wonderful. Thank you for showing some love. Glad you caught all the writing, man. Salute to the... Yeah, no, of course. 100%. 200, man. Let's fucking go. I agree, man. Huge shout out to Anuka. Let's fucking go. Love that. Well done, my friend. So yes, finishing off with Onwuka. Up next, we got the homie Sin, aka Survival in Negativity. Now, a very, very talented hip hop artist submitted the track Teeter, a soundtrack to being afraid to fall in love again. Oh man, oh shit, we're getting emotional here with Survival. Oh shit. All right, I'm down. All right, Survival in Negativity, Teeter. Let's go. Some lyrics and description as well.
An all too familiar road that I'm weary of walking. Bare pieces of my soul when you thought I was merely talking. Yet it seems I'm clearly lost in these fantasy-driven thoughts of me and you. To no avail, but that's the cost to see the truth. And instead of feeling free by the sight of it, I'd equate it to more like a blinding light. Not bright like a sunny day, but more like 1,000 stars exploding over the night and leaving a valley charred. Yet my eyes are open despite. And once the wounds heal, we grow to call them battle scars. I hid mine, rather had not seen battle at all. Yet here I am again, bringing my sword to draw, on guard for the next encounter, recruiting the war of hearts. And here you are, across from me on the battlefield, looking to penetrate the weakest spot on my battered shield. You approach in hopes of reaching through to my soul, but I'll only let my guard down if you show me that it's real. If you're leaving me for dead, lead me to the ledge, let me look into your eyes while I teeter on the edge till I fall off. I fall off on the edge until I fall off. I fall off. If you're leaving me for dead, lead me to the ledge, let me look into your eyes while I teeter on the edge till I fall off. I fall off on the
Wow.
edge till I fall off. I fall off.
Wow. Let's go, man. Yeah, no, I agree on Luca. I agree. The hook right there is really crazy, you know, because Sin is an artist who's quite the writer, but you don't see too many like interesting hooks like that, especially in like later tracks. But now it's like this is really one that really clears. I am very impressed at this actually. November 1st, so this is literally barely 2 weeks old, man. So this is brand new. Wow. All right, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Let's break it down. We're gonna talk about 3 things. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, we're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of Teeter. So, instrumental. I like the instrumental choice. Again, it kind of has that like old school hip hop boom bap feel to it, but it's still very modern, new age, right? Kind of mixes in the new age sounds, so it doesn't sound out of date at all. But it has that like classic feel to it, like rainy day, kind of like chill. And I think Sin really like sounds amazing on these types of instrumentals, but especially when it's tracks like these. Tracks like these are like, okay, like what the fuck, you know what I mean? So, I like the choice. Instrumental mix is solid as well. Nothing clashing, too overbearing. Nothing that I would change at all. Mixed by the homie Stratic Beats. Probably by the homie Simra. So it's like, yeah, I mean, no gripes at all. Now that I'm thinking about it, sound selection's great, melodies are fantastic, vocals sit nice, drums cut through nicely. Nothing I would ultimately change on this at all, to be honest. So instrumental solid, instrumental shining star. I do like the drums here, but I feel like the melody really sets the tone for what Survival is about to really talk about here. So probably the melody, to be honest with you, but you could definitely make an argument for the drums, but for me, definitely melody for sure. Melody sets the mood here. So instrumental solid, definitely the melody. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix, similar to a couple of artists we listened to here tonight. Sin has a very consistent vocal mix and a very consistent instrumental mix. So nothing clashing, too overbearing. Nothing I would ultimately change on this either. Drums cut through nicely. Vocals sit nice. Another artist with a very solid natural voice. So again, you don't really want to go too crazy with the effects. Just kind of want to clean it up. Make sure you got it crisp, clean, and clear. Right to the point. You know what I mean? You really, really, really want that like solid style. So, yeah, no gripes with the vocal mix. To be honest with you, nope, no gripes at all. Vocal shining star. I was kind of having a hard time with this because I do like the writing here, but I feel like the hook is crazy as fuck, and the way that Sin kind of performed this is like, damn, you know what I mean? So it's really well done and super super catchy, and easily could get stuck in your head. So for me, definitely the hook. I mean, writing in general, right? But I feel like the hook is definitely one that could like reel people back in and make people like really like solidify it. Like this is like one of their favorites from Sin. So for me, the hook absolutely clears. So instrumental solid, definitely the melody. Vocal solid, definitely the hook. The stock theme, aesthetics, obviously fantastic aesthetics. I mean, I feel like Sin has like such a good taste for like some of their singles, and some of their solo tracks are just like so interesting when it comes to their styles of aesthetics. So this one definitely has that like push me off the edge, kind of like teeter, but also like alone kind of vibe to it. Very simple, straight to the point, all gray. It kind of has the same feel as this instrumental, right? So I feel like this is a very like solid choice when it comes down to aesthetics. So yeah, solid cover for sure. Overall theme, I mean, Sin definitely kind of described it really well here. Soundtrack to being afraid to fall in love again. And even the description is a little bit different here on Bandcamp. It says a long-winded way to describe being afraid to be able to fall in love again. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we've all been there, right? I mean, you get emotionally destroyed from somebody, you're gonna have a very hard time falling back into love with almost anybody. You know what I mean? Like no matter how good of a situation it is, right? I mean, that's why I think like healing properly and like trying to like take some time for yourself is always important, right? Because you'll always come to this point. It just really depends on how hard it's going to be for you. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's really fucking hard to be able to like get back into that section of life. But I think it's perfectly described in the hook. That's why I think the hook was the shining star. It's one of those things that like if you're like a giving person, right, and you're like one of those people that like does their all for their partner, it can be very hard to get your heart broken like a couple times or even once and get back into that kind of scene, right, and get back into dating or get back into relationships or anything. And once you start bringing back up old situations, you're like, oh fuck, I'm starting to feel like this again and X, Y, or Z. So it's definitely a whirlwind, and I feel like as an artist, you do have the ability to put those feelings on paper and get it out and at least like feel a little bit of something and like feel like you're getting your feelings out there in a healthy and positive way. You know what I mean? So tracks like these are super important if you're an artist. And I always encourage every artist, no matter what type of artist you are, to write tracks like these. Even if you don't record them and release them, I think like just getting these kind of writing exercises out where you're kind of talking about your feelings, but also like mixing your style is just always a good thing. It really, really is. It's always a good thing. So, well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to Sin, aka Survival Negativity. Make sure you go follow them on Bandcamp, and of course, make sure you go follow Sin on Twitter. They are 1 follower away from 80 or 11 followers from 490. So go show them some love in the bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 300 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel, man. Go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you, my friends. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Fucking go. All right. What a show it's been, man. What a show. We've had some fucking veterans come through. We've really had quite the show here. Episode 200 has been a fucking heater. That's a fact. Okay, so we left off the homie Sin. Up next is the homie Ab Sono, and a very talented multi-genre producer submitted Super Saiyan. Let's see what we got here, man. It's been a little bit since we heard from the homie Ab Sono, a Music Mondays community veteran. They go all the way back to, man, Cyberfest 2022. Ab Sono has been submitting to the platform and collaborating with Music Mondays since literally 2022. So huge shout out to Ab Sono, man. I'm glad you can make it on episode 200. Let's fucking go. Let's see here. Electronic trap beat inspired by Destroy Lonely, Ken Carson, and Playboy Cardi. All socials, YouTube, BeatStars, Instagram. Let's fucking go. Okay. All right. Ab Sono, Super Saiyan. Let's get into it. Drums are fantastic. Mix is great. What a crazy ass outro too. Well done, well done. Ab Sono has really leveled up since we first started reacting to their submissions, man. Like they've come a long way since they've been a producer. So well done. That was very on point for Ab Sono. I definitely have to agree, man. I definitely have to agree. So let's break it down. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. We're gonna talk about two things here because obviously no vocals. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, and we're talking about the overall theme of Super Saiyan. So let's talk instrumental. Instrumental mix is fantastic. I mean, all the way down to the drums, man. Like even the percussion is really solid. Nothing is out of place. Quite literally everything is great. All the hats are great. I like the drums a lot. Like the kick and the 808's great. I have no grasp with this mix at all. I didn't even notice anything that was even slightly out of place. You know what I mean? So instrumental mix very solid. Instrumental Shining Star. I do like the melody a lot, but the drums really clear for me, especially the patterns and like how Ab Sono really constructed this with their other homie Addy. So yeah, definitely can tell it's like on that collab kind of deal, but at the same time the drums really clear. So Shining Star, definitely the drums. Let's see here. So overall theme, Super Saiyan. Aesthetics. Hmm. What a great choice. I mean, like, what a great choice in Dragon Ball Z in general, but what a, like, a solid, like, high quality picture, too. Like, this is one where it's, like, the most colorful as well. So, I mean, if you're gonna pick Trunks, man, and title track Super Saiyan, this is definitely the picture you want to use. Like, solid choice. I like this one a lot. Separate cover, you know what I mean? So, well done. I like this one, for sure. Um, Overall theme, I mean, Super Saiyan, it definitely has that, like, Dragon Ball Z kind of feel to it, though. You know, especially the melody kind of reminds me of those, like, old DBZ melodies, um, like Boo, Cell Saga kind of era. You know, a lot of those melodies were, like, very synthy, you know, so, I feel like they did a good job kind of pinning down, like, the Dragon Ball Z kind of flavor to this, for sure, so, well done, my friends, well done. So with that said, a huge shout out to Absono. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much, much love. Make sure you go follow Absono on SoundCloud. They are 7 followers away from 60, so go show them some love over there on the cloud. Of course, make sure you go follow Absono on Twitter. They are 6 followers away from 510, so go show them some love over there on the Bird app. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 300 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. So make sure you go show these artists in the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. Of course, if you already have, thank you. We see you guys dropping likes, dropping comments, all the good jazz on the Music Mondays YouTube channel. You guys are beautiful. Much, much love. Let's fucking go. So, let's get it, man. You guys know the drill. We're about halfway through the show, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we return, we're going to dive right back into the rest of the community submissions. So make sure you get up, go stretch your legs, maybe go get a snack, go get a drink, go walk the dog, maybe go take a smoke break. But when we return, like I said, we're going to dive right back into our community submissions. So don't go anywhere. Music Mondays episode 200. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Music Podcast, episode 100 episode 200. Holy shit, that's so crazy to say. Episode 200, man. Welcome back. It's Hero Sound Slays. Well, let's get back right into our community submissions, man. Hope you've all been having a great, but we're gonna dive right back in. So, actually, let's see here. So we left off with the homie Absolno. The first time Absolno submitted in a couple weeks, I want to say, actually. So let's get back into it, man. Up next is the homie A Groovy Mind, a very talented multi-genre producer, has come back with No Blood, Reverb Nation. Okay, Reverb Nation. Okay. Let's see here. So it's been a minute since we heard from Groovy Mind, man. Let's see what they've been up to. Okay. Let's see if we can pop this open a new tab. Yes, we can. All right, let's get into it. A Groovy Mind, No Blood. Let's go. Okay.
Today, we will be learning a phrase.
Great outro. Fantastic outro act. Well done. Well done. Like I said, it's been a while since we heard from Groovy Mind, but they've been really, really doing their thing, man. They've been really doing their thing. Let's go. I love that. All right. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. So, obviously no vocals here, so we're gonna talk about two things. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of No Blood. So, Hmm. Let's talk instrumental. Instrumental mix is actually fantastic, literally fantastic. Nothing clashing, too overbearing. Sound selection is great. Nothing I would ultimately change on this one whatsoever. Um, Drums cut through nicely. Yeah, no, like thinking back on it, definitely no gripes with this like whatsoever. So, instrumental make it very solid. Instrumental shining star. Um, hmm. Probably the structure, especially stretching past 3 minutes. You really got to structure your instrumental tracks as, you know, appropriately as you can, right? Because again, you don't want to be putting out like repetitive tracks that are kind of like, fuck, like it's kind of like sound the same for 3 minutes. Structure is very important when it becomes, um, you know, to start like releasing, single instrumentals and single tracks and just being a producer in general, right? They're much more enjoyable. So I think structure is a lot more underrated. And I think A Groovy Mind did a good job structuring this one out and stretching it for as long as they could, right? So for me, structure clears, absolutely. So instrumental solid. Let's talk theme. Aesthetics. So a very interesting cover choice here. Very simple but straight to the point, especially with the GM on the white tablets. It definitely gets straight to the point. So perfect for a single 100%. I would say, oh, okay, so it's kind of like an overall like profile picture cover. Okay. I see. All right, so very interesting. I mean, yeah, either way, it still kind of gets the Groovy Mind aesthetic across. But I feel like they definitely did a good job with this one 100%, without a doubt. So for me, aesthetics definitely clear, simple, straight to the point. Overall theme, no blood. I mean, no blood is definitely something that A Groovy Mind felt appropriate with. Definitely sometimes when it comes to being a producer, you have a lot more leeway with your themes and how you relate tracks and things like that. So this is definitely one where Groovy Mind kind of wanted to put their own spin on things, So well done, my friends. Well done. So with that said, huge shout out to A Groovy Mind. Thank you so much for the submission. Make sure you go follow them on Reverb Nation, and of course, make sure you go follow them on Twitter. They're approaching 1.1K on the Bird app, so make sure you go show them some love over there on Twitter. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and in every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 300 subscribers, so we upload 2 times per week, Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists in the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. Of course, per usual, if you already have been supporting Music Mondays on YouTube and liking the videos and viewing the videos and all that good jazz, thank you guys for all the support. You're fucking wonderful. Let's go. So, let's see here. Up next would be the homie David Alori. Well, actually, it is David Alori. I actually thought we had Emily up next, who had a repeat submission, but no, we have David up next. David Alori has been absolutely fucking killing it with the recent submissions. A very talented hip hop artist has submitted a Dreamin' remix. Let's see what we got from the homie here, David, man. Let's go see what David has in store. My remix of Dreamin' by Party Next Door. I'm down. Let's get into it. All right, David Alori, Dreamin' remix. Let's go. Oh, okay. So very interesting take on that remix there. I like that though, because it screams that like underground DIY style of just like a throw, like a B-side throwaway kind of remix, you know. So I like the direction a lot for sure. Let's break it down. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So we're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental. We're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of Dreamin' Remix. So let's talk instrumental. Obviously a instrumental that was just kind of repurposed, right? So, but again, for what it is, nothing clashing to overbearing. Nothing that I would like change on this, especially when you're doing like remix styles of tracks. You know, sometimes the instrumentals can be weird with certain vocals, but this one I thought was great. You know what I mean? Nothing like super super crazy or like over the edge. You know, definitely solid for what it is. So the instrumental definitely up there. Instrumental Shining Star. I mean, you got to say the melody, right? I feel like the melody is very like somewhat recognizable now. You know what I mean? It definitely has that like dreamlike loud flavor to it. You know, so definitely the melody for sure. Um, so instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. So vocal mix again. It definitely has that like rougher underground vocal mix, but again, I like this is a track that you wouldn't want to take like that serious anyway, unless you like plan to. You know what I mean? So this strikes me as a track that David just wanted to kind of do for fun, you know, as practice and kind of like get yourself to kind of get used to like going outside the box with like other styles and things like that. So, vocal mix is solid for what it is. I mean, obviously it could be improved, but definitely not a track that I mean you could kind of like you know go back and like readjust this, but definitely one of those tracks that's just like fun to do and try your hand at. You know what I mean? So, vocals for where they're at definitely solid. Nothing I would like ultimately change now. You know what I mean? Unless you want to do like a crazy like double remix or something. But yeah, vocal mix solid for where it's at. Um, vocal shining star. Mm, probably the flow and cadence and delivery. You know, I thought that was unique, but also it was like very much David. I think the last couple David tracks have been more on the like R&B slash emotional side. So I feel like they've been really tapping into that, and I think they've been doing a good job, kind of like leaning into that and trying to like break through that ceiling and get used to like a newer, kind of more different style. You know what I mean? So definitely flow and cadence and delivery for sure. Um, hmm. So instrumental solid, definitely the melody. Vocal solid, definitely the flow and cadence and delivery. Let's talk theme. Aesthetics, fantastic. I mean, kind of simple, straight to the point. David O'Leary in the top left, Dreamin' Remix in the middle. I mean, if you're gonna do any kind of simple cover, things like this are always super perfect. You know, like really, really hit the spot. So, I feel like David did a good job with this one. You know, simple, dreaming like, you know, cloud like, kind of like faded, foggy, kind of has that drill to it. You know, so definitely a solid single cover, 100%. Overall theme, I mean, pretty much a remix of "Dreaming" by Party Next Door. You know what I mean? So David O'Leary kind of took their take on that and did a good job kind of, you know, going outside the box. You know, you always love to see artists do that. So well done, my friend. With that said, a huge shout out to David O'Leary. Make sure you go follow them on SoundCloud. They are now 10 followers away from 130 now that we've followed them on SoundCloud. Make sure you do that too and go show them some love. And of course, make sure you go follow David on Twitter. They are 8 followers away from 360, so go show them some love. Of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 300 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists in the channel some love, baby. Let's get it, my friends. If you already have, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Huge shout out to everybody that's been kind of coming through, liking videos, viewing the videos, dropping some comments. You guys are awesome, man. Thank you. So, we left off with the homie David O'Leary. Up next would be the homie Emily Thorsby, but we reacted to Darkest Night last week on episode 199 of the Music Mondays podcast. So make sure you go show them some love. And huge shout out to Emily Thorsby for resubmitting. Feel free to resubmit tomorrow for next week's episode 201, being to be featured with something that we have not reacted to yet. So, after Emily, we got the homie on Pooh. Still in the paid freestyle. This is the first time submitting artists on Pooh. Now, we didn't get to their submission last week because we hit our time limit, so this will be very, very cool to be able to finally get through. Pivot Productions debut mixtape out right fucking now. Love that. Hype ass bio. Okay, let's get into it. First time submitting artist Anpu, still in the paint freestyle. I'm down. Let's see what we got here. We don't know what to expect. We're just gonna go in obviously blind and kind of see what the homie Anpu has, man. I'm ready. Well, let's get into it. Anpu, still in the paint freestyle. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Shifting. Oh, running my paper and counting my blessings. I don't got time to be stressing about, oh, real niggas dying and hoe getting rich. They passing that wealth and they making me sick. I used to stress shit while making a check. I step out that house and say, where's the paint? Put ball up top, but it's still in the paint. Come check on my paint. Wanted the camera, start racking the bait. My hands to the face, can't see me no John. They showing they ass, they face that crime. They saying I copy one, oh well. I'm catching my flows one-handed, oh, damn. Step out that house and say, where's the paint? Put ball up top, but it's still in the paint. Come check on my paint. I wanted the camera, start racking the bait. My hands to the face, can't see me no John. They showing they ass, they face that crime. They saying I copy one, oh well. I'm catching my flows one-handed, oh, damn. Challenge the play, I pop in the face. I ain't for the change and I'm fucking with Scotty. It's never the other, can't mess with the night. I touch in the head, then I put on my head. I check on the bed, got PTSD. I'm fighting the demons, they move when I sleep. I've been on the way, they cannot contain. I'm king of the hill, propane. Feel like him, word, bitch, I'm him. Chaotic life, I feel like a Gallagher. When I start hating, I feel
What
like
the
I'm
fuck?
Guns be pain like nigga Minaj. Fuck the comparisons, niggas not me. Act like us, but got no drip. Shawty be pump, fake a last name Wade. Step out that house and I'm running that plate. I step out that house and say, where's the paint? Put ball up top, but it's still in the paint. Come check on my paper. I wanted the camera, start racking the bait. My hands to the face, can't see me no John. They showing they
Oh
ass, they
shit.
they saying I copy one, oh well. I'm catching my flows one-handed, oh, damn. Step out that house and say, where's the paint? Put ball up top, but it's still in the paint. Come check on my paper. I wanted the camera, start racking the bait. My hands to the face, can't see me no John. They showing they ass, they face that crime. They saying I copy one, oh well. I'm catching my flows one-handed, oh, damn.
Fantastic. What a great first time submission. What the fuck? That is actually insane. That is a great first time submission. Holy shit. My god. Okay. I'm down. Let's talk about it, man. Let's break into it. Let's get it down. Let's talk about it. So, we're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, we're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of this track. So, first time submitting artist, man, you never know what you're gonna get. And you always like to keep an open mind, right? Because you just never know. That's what the show's all about. But this one was just, wow. Like, talk about an artist, like, really just getting loose and, like, fucking enjoying themselves. You know what I mean? Like, this gave that OG freestyle kind of feel to it. So well done. Let's talk instrumental, though. Instrumental mix, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Nothing clashing, too overbearing. Nothing that I thought needed tweaking or anything like that. Drums are solid, sound selection solid, vocals sat nice. Not one thing I would change on the instrumental mix whatsoever. Instrumental Shining Star. I like the melody. Definitely has that like OG like hard in the paint kind of feel to it. But also the drums are fucking insane. Like, so definitely the drums clear here, especially the sound selection, the patterns. Everything's really, really well done. So for me, definitely the drums, 100%. Yeah, the instrumentals, drums, definitely the drums for sure. Let's see here. So, instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix was great. vocal mix was actually really, really great. And somebody mentioned it in the comments as well. Oh shit, this voice change hit is crazy. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, and Anpu replied, "We experimented. I'm happy you fucked with it, and I fucked with it too. I like when artists get loose on shit like this, and like really like to just kind of like test the waters and see what shit can sound like. Because it's not like this whole track doesn't sound great. You know what I mean? It's not like experimenting means you have to like put out something that's like subpar. You know, you can always experiment, but still like keep your standard of quality. So I feel like that's what they did here. So the vocal mix is really fantastic. Again, nothing clashing, too overbearing. Nothing I would ultimately change. I feel like again, Anpu was having fun and really pushed themselves on this, especially when it comes to vocals. So crisp, clean, clear, straight to the point, no gripes at all. Vocal solid, vocal shining star. Probably the writing. The writing, there was so many bars coming at you so fast that you know you could only pick out certain bars. So this is one that you have like the replayability factor of, and you could totally run back and pick up a whole new bunch of lines that you missed the first time. So for me, writing, 100%. But Flo and Kane's delivery was up there too. I feel like the flow was just fucking insane, but writing for sure. So instrumental solid, definitely the drums. Vocal solid, definitely the writing. Let's talk theme. Aesthetics. So a very simple kind of aesthetic push here. With this very famous Kid logo that I'm sure we all know, and if you haven't seen it, you'll probably see it eventually. But a very iconic symbol here, but super like loose freestyle cover, kind of a good like temp cover as well if you always wanted to change it or anything like that. But solid, straight to the point, eye catching, definitely gets the job done, man, for sure. So aesthetics definitely on point. Still in the paint freestyle. I mean, overall theme, you know, you don't want to look too deep for a theme here. Definitely a true freestyle where I feel like Anpu was definitely like just letting their pen fly and writing whatever bars came to mind and really was just feeling themselves. You know, so I wouldn't look too deep on a theme here, but definitely one that you want to enjoy for its lyrical and written content for sure. So well done, my friend. Well done. So with that said, huge shout out to Anpu. Make sure you go follow them on SoundCloud. They are now 10 followers now that we follow them, away from 100. So make sure you go follow them just like we did, man. And of course, make sure you go follow Anpu on Twitter at AnpuJ. They are one follower away from 460. So go show them some love over there in the bird at my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 300 subscribers on the main Music Mondays YouTube channel. So make sure you go show the channel and these artists some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays, my friend. Yo. So, up next, we have the homie, James Avellino. It's me, James404. I don't believe we've reacted to James before. If we have, it's definitely been a while since we heard from the homie James, man. But this is definitely not an artist that I don't think we've had in the show in quite some time. So, I'm totally down to get into it. Let's see what we got here from the homie, James Avellino. All right, let's get into it. First time submitting artist, James Avellino, Valor. Let's go.
Very best to fit in with your first row school friends.
Okay.
Enter the realm that's new to me, for I thought it would improve my chance. I'd spend my break times with you, always try to make myself look cool. But now I know my choice did nothing but make me look like a fool. I wait for you during early dismissals, though I know you're not gonna do the same. After all those months of being fragile, I'm gonna turn around and spare myself some shame. This time around I'll show valor and walk right out your door. Done with waiting patiently, you'd always leave me at the floor. I'm tired of being a background character and having myself ignored. And I'll be honest, I won't deny that I love you, but I love myself more.
Banger.
I treasured you more than anything else happiness in this world. Well, I'm just an option to you whenever you feel bored. I never take your insult seriously. I laugh at your insensitivity. Even when you leave me hanging, I tell myself that you love me. But this time around, I'll show valor and walk right out your door. Done with waiting patiently, you'd always leave me at the floor. I'm tired of being a background character and having myself ignored. And I'll be honest, I won't deny that I love you, but I love myself more. I didn't wanna give up on us, but you left me with no choice. I've been resisting for so long, now I'm breaking free from all the noise. I'm done shutting myself up. Take a moment and listen to my voice. If you ain't planning to change your ways, I might as well just recoil. I'm done with having to often tell myself that we'll be fine, when all you ever do is break my heart and hurt me every time. This time around, I'll show valor and walk right out your door. Done with waiting patiently, you'd always leave me at the floor. I'm tired of being a background character and having myself ignored. And I'll be honest, I won't deny that I love you, but I love myself more. I love myself more. I love myself more. Hear my word of valor. I'm gonna put myself first.
Well done. Absolutely well done. Great. Absolutely great. What a track, man. What a track. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. So, first time submitting artist, James Avellino. Let's talk about it. We're talking about three things here. We're talking about the instrumental, we're talking about the vocals, and we're talking about the overall theme of Valor. So, instrumental. I feel like this instrumental was great. A very like theatrical, emotional, kind of straight to the point instrumental. You know what I mean? Very much emotional and perfect for what James was writing about here. So, instrumental choice solid. Instrumental mix definitely solid. Drums are solid, melodies are solid. Nothing I would like ultimately change on the instrumental. Nothing clashing, too overbearing. Drums cut through nicely. Yeah, nothing that would like really change on the instrumental. So instrumental makes very solid. Instrumental shining star. Probably the structure. I like the way that this instrumental was structured out. You know, I feel like this producer definitely took a handful of time to be able to like actually properly structure this out. So you know, the way it comes in, the way it comes out, where it drops, where it, you know, structure is very important for certain tracks, most tracks anyway. And this one, fantastic. So definitely structure clears on the instrumental, 100%. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix. So a vocal mix, you know, when you're going for tracks like this, you know, you want to keep it very like honest and emotional, but kind of like pushing that like alt rock acoustic kind of style. You know, you definitely want to keep it honest, but also this track definitely would have benefited from just like a little bit more vocal tweaking. I feel like if the vocals were like just a slightly tad bit louder, maybe had like a little bit of reverb and kind of like exploited a little bit more of the melodic parts here, I feel like the song could have been crazy, like really crazy. But for where it is now, you definitely see the vision, right? And I'm sure that's something that James has worked on since then, right? Because this came out in September, so it's also November 18th when we're recording this live. So I'm sure James has definitely worked on that. But as far as this track goes, I mean, outside of the vocals being a little bit dry, I feel like James definitely nailed it as far as like the style goes. So not too many gripes here with that at all. Vocal Shining Star is definitely the writing. I feel like it was very honest writing, very straight to the point writing, very emotional and vulnerable writing. You know what I mean? I feel like as an artist, this is definitely like some of the best ways to utilize your music is writing about your life and your emotions, whether they're dark or, kind of more on like the lighter side or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like you definitely want to be using your music as a way to kind of get your thoughts out and get certain things off your chest. So I feel like James did a good job doing that. You know what I mean? So for me, definitely writing, 100%. So instrumental solid, definitely the structure. Vocal solid, definitely the writing. Let's talk theme, aesthetics, valor. I mean, come on. You guys know how I feel about the IRL pictures. Sometimes when you're using these IRL pictures, all you really need is just like a slight edit and you have a great single cover. You know what I mean? Because if you're going to go with this, all you need to do is just, spruce it up a little bit and you'll be good to go. You know what I mean? So I feel like James did a good job with this cover, 100%, especially for a single, James Avery at the top, Valor below, IRL photo at the bottom. I mean, really well done. You know what I mean? Really well done. So aesthetics definitely on point. Valor overall theme. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all been there when it comes down to like trying to like make a relationship work with a person that it's like just not gonna work with, or people that like, won't leave your life, but also like don't really like you in their life. You know what I mean? I definitely feel like we've all been there at least once, or you will be there when you're kind of struggling to like keep a relationship you want to keep together, but you just can't. So you kind of like save yourself. You know what I mean? And kind of really like make sure that you put yourself first. And I feel like James did a good job touching on that and kind of their experience with that feeling. So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to James Avellino. Make sure you go follow them on Spotify. And of course, make sure you go follow James on Twitter. They are approaching 580 followers. They have 2 followers away. So make sure you go show them some love on the bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you have not already. We're approaching 300 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there. Channel, so make sure you go show these artists and the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. If you already have, thank you. We appreciate you guys showing love and dropping likes, dropping comments, dropping views on all the Music Mondays up. Thank you. Fucking go. Okay. Alrighty, my friends. We left off with homie James Avellino. Up next is the homie Filter, who was here early in the chat kind of kicking it, but Filter came through with a crazy ass, probably unreleased submission. A multi-genre talented artist submitted In Doubt / Venus. Let's see what we got here. I'm down. So, Filter's been on a kick lately and they're back. So let's get into it. Filter, In Doubt, Venus. Let's go. Oh shit.
Filter, did you seriously do that?
Oh shit. Wow.
Did you seriously do that?
A little switch up, a little switch up. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Damn, Filter Cave through. Holy shit. What a track that was. What a track that was. So we kind of had like a split tour there, you know what I mean? Half one track, half the other track. So well done, man. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. So we're gonna talk about three things here. We're talking about the instrumental, we're talking about vocals, and we're talking about the overall theme of In Doubt / Beat. So let's talk instrumental. So first off, obviously we have two different instrumentals here, but the mix in itself throughout the whole track, fantastic. I mean, definitely wouldn't change a thing. Filter's definitely a producer and an artist that's, you know, really well versed in their mixing and always does a really, really good job with their mixes. Not really a shocker that we have a solid mix here, but something I always want to point out for anybody new, right? So, instrumental mix throughout the whole track, fantastic. Instrumental Shining Star, I don't want to say structure for both, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like the structure for both was really fantastic, and like the transition into the next was just as good. You know what I mean? Like, drums were definitely up there, 100% for both, but structure and the transition into the next one was fantastic. So, for me, definitely structure for sure. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix is kind of like the same deal with the instrumental. I mean, Filter has a very solid vocal mix, and it also depends on like the style and things like that. But no matter what style they're doing, you can kind of guarantee that they're gonna have a very solid vocal mix. You know what I mean? So, the Filter definitely has a very, very solid vocal mix across the majority of their tracks. So it wasn't really a shocker here that their vocal mix is very much up to par. Crisp, clean, clear, straight to the effects, nice and just finely tuned, and it really hits that nice sweet spot. You know what I mean? And it's very unique to Filter as well in their natural voice. The vocal mix very solid. Vocal Shining Star. You know, I do like the writing a lot, but the flow and cadence and delivery of the whole track is fucking crazy. You know, for both tracks, I guess you could say, the flow and cadence and delivery was just insane. Just super fast paced the whole time, really hitting everything. Like, Filter was on point during these, like really, really on point. So flow and cadence and delivery for sure. So instrumental solid, definitely the structure. Vocal solid, flow and cadence and delivery. Let's talk theme. So obviously unreleased, you got a little anime placement here that's just kind of taking a little filler cover here. So obviously solid, high energy, super colorful. Definitely a great placeholder. You know what I mean? So aesthetics definitely on point. Overall theme, I wouldn't kind of dig too deep into themes here. In Doubt is definitely a completely separate theme from Venus. So again, I would take them as two separate tracks for sure, because Filter's definitely kind of on two different spectrums of ideas here. So yeah, I would definitely not look super deep for a theme here, but you could look for a theme into each individual track for sure. But this one is definitely just the 2-for-1 kind of feel, where Filter's giving you really their best. So well done, my friend. Huge shout out to Filters. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Filter on SoundCloud, and of course, make sure you go follow Filter on Twitter. They are 5 followers away from 110, so go show them some love in the bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you have not already. We're approaching 300 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists and the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you. Let's get into it, my friends. So, we left off with the homie Filter. Up next is David Jacquees, aka The Dimensions. Now we got the homie David coming through with another submission. It's been a while since we heard from the homie David and The Dimensions. So let's see what we got here. They submitted Funky, Shock, and Awe. Let's see what we got. I'm down. I'm absolutely down. All right, let's get into it. The Dimensions, Funky, Shock, and Awe. Been a while since we heard from The Dimensions, so let's get into it.
Check them like, at the drop of a hat, drop of a rap, the drop of a beat, you might have listened to with all respect. Drop of a rap, drop of a beat. Take you to the next dimension. At the drop of a hat, the drop of a rap, the drop of a beat, you might have listened to and thought was fact. If you got what you talk, to get up and rock that funky shock and awe. Check them like, check. They come running, never saw it coming. Stunned and amazed by the riffs that I'm strumming. Check. They come running, never saw it coming. With their pretension, inventions trickier than Thomas Edison's. At the drop of a hat, drop of a rap, drop of a beat, you might have listened to with all respect. Drop of a rap, drop of a beat. Take you to the next dimension. Drop of a hat, the drop of a rap, the drop of a beat, you might have listened to with all respect. At the drop of a hat, the drop of a rap. That funky shock and awe. They come running, never saw it coming. With their pretension, inventions trickier than Thomas Edison. They come running, never saw it coming. That funky shock and awe. Thomas Edison. Time to get up and rock, drop it to God. That funky shock and awe. At the drop of a hat, the drop of a rap, the drop of a beat, you might have listened to and thought was fact. Take you to the next dimension. At the drop of a hat, the drop of a rap, the drop of a beat, you might have listened to and thought was fact. Drop of a rap, drop a beat. Take you to the next dimension. At the drop of a hat, drop of a rap, the drop of a beat, you might have listened to and thought was fact. Drop of a rap, drop a beat. Take you to the next dimension. At the drop of a hat, drop of a rap, drop of a beat, you might have listened to and thought was fact. Drop of a hat. At the drop of a hat, the drop of a rap, the drop of a beat, you might have listened to and thought was fact. Drop of a hat.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Very experimental as well, but that's kind of what I expected out of the Dimensions. But well done. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. All right. We're going to talk about 2 things here. We're going to talk about the instrumental, and we're talking about the overall theme of Funky Shock and Awe. Not too many vocals to work with here, so we won't dive too deep on those, but we'll definitely talk about the instrumental and the theme here for sure. So let's break down the instrumental. Instrumental mix is solid for what it is. I mean, it's a very experimental type of instrumental, lots going on in it. So sometimes they can be a bitch to mix, right? But I think where they got it and like what they kind of settled on was pretty solid. You know, nothing too clashy, too overbearing, nothing that was like ultimately outside of the box, right? So instrumental mix solid. Instrumental shining star. A very interesting structure, but I do feel like the structure contributed to the experimental feel of this and like what they're really going for. So yeah, no, definitely structure for sure. Structure definitely kept this entertaining, 100%. So instrumental solid, definitely structure. Let's talk theme. Aesthetics Funky Shock and Awe. So, I mean, definitely a funky kind of cover, right? I mean, you kind of have this like tie-dye multicolor tiger-esque kind of picture, you know? So, very solid for like what they were going for, you know what I mean? Again, very experimental and somewhat like kind of old school, right? So, aesthetics definitely on point for a single for sure. Overall theme, Funky Shock and Awe. I mean, pretty much in the title, they definitely went for a more funky kind of flavor here. Um, and they kind of achieved it for sure. They kind of achieved it. You know what I mean? It definitely hit that mark of like dance, but mixing other genres in it. You know, so again, very experimental, but kind of hit the mark. So well done, my friend. With that said, huge shout out to The Dimensions. Make sure you go follow them on Spotify. Thank you so much, my friend. And of course, make sure you go follow them on Twitter. They are 6 followers away from 430, so go show them some love in the bird at my friends, and where to go drop them a follow over there too as well. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the free upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 300 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. And if you already have, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you guys here at Music Mondays. Let's go. So, up next would be the homie Rhythm, but they do not follow Music Mondays on Twitter. So feel free to drop us a follow and resubmit when you do have a track that we can react to. Of course, submissions are free. They always have been free. They always will be free. But the only thing that we do ask is that you're following Music Mondays on Twitter to be eligible. Not only to help spread our message and show us support, but just to show some love to everybody else that does wait for their submissions to be reacted to every single week. So huge shout out to Rhythm. But that does conclude episode 200 actually of the Music Mondays podcast. That's so crazy to say still. So let's close it out, man. Let's show some love. Let's talk about what's coming over the next week or so. Talk about the new season of Music Mondays and all that good jazz, man. So let's get into it. First, let's send some shout outs here, man. Let's send some shout outs because the chat was fucking bumping tonight. Huge shout out to everybody in the chat who came through and showed motherfucking love, man. You guys are fucking wonderful. Literally massive love to everybody who showed up, tuned in, and just came through and kicked it. Huge shout out to Tarek. Huge shout out to Onwuka. Huge shout out to Filter, Offspring Mysterious, and anybody else that lurked and chilled and just kind of came through in the chat and congratulated us on 200. You guys are awesome, man. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And of course, huge shout out to everybody that submitted tonight. Let's show some love to everybody over here as well. Huge shout out to Jordan. Huge shout out to Laveri's, our Music Mondays patrons of the night. Huge shout out to the rest of the Patreon crew. Grandma Eyes, Kruger, Ryuki, and King Mark. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Huge shout out to everybody that did submit tonight. Huge shout out to Mishka, Offspring Mysterious, Onwuka, Jordan, Laveri's, Sin, Absono, All Groovy Mind, David Alluri, Emily Thorsby, Onpu, James, the homie Filter, David Jacquees, and Rhythm. Thank you guys so much for your submissions. You guys are amazing. Much love. So you guys know the drill, man. The grind continues. I mean, I'm going to upload that segment this week on YouTube where I kind of spoke about the history of Music Mondays just because, I want people to kind of have a little bit more history when it comes to the platform. But, the grind continues, man. Quite literally, Music Mondays Patreon update is coming up next, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that. And, of course, the Music Mondays Awards will be happening in late December, so keep your eyes peeled for some details on that as well. And of course, Music Mondays merch promo will be going out relatively soon as well. So when it comes to that, make sure you go follow us on socials and stay up to date with that. And of course, submissions will be open tomorrow for episode 201 of the Music Mondays podcast. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled on all socials for that. If you're watching this live anywhere, submissions are open already. If you're watching this right now, submissions open tomorrow. So you guys know the drill. Make sure that you guys not only follow us on socials, but stay up to date with when submissions drop for all of these pieces of content. And of course, SoundCloud Sunday submissions open on Wednesday. Make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that as well. But yeah, man, everything went great for episode 200 anyway. And of course, you can catch episode 200 on the Music Mondays Patreon tonight, and you can catch episode 200 on all audio platforms this Thursday: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, all that good jazz. Anchor.fm/allmusicmondays. And of course, make sure you go follow us on YouTube. We're 5 subs away from 300. Trying to get to that 300 before 2025. So make sure you go show the channel some love. So, per usual, man, I just want to say thank you guys once again for another amazing episode, but an amazing episode 200. We wouldn't be shit without you guys. I wouldn't be shit without the staff, and We need to keep the underground alive, and we need to make sure this is the purest platform for any new or veteran underground artists to kind of come through and support and be a part of. Let's fucking go, man. Boys on Slaves, make sure you follow, subscribe below. Everything linked below. All the socials, all the good jazz linked down below. I stream 5-6 days a week, so make sure you come through the stream, say hello, say what's up. We're always kicking it, doing watch party jazz, YouTube, speedrunning, gaming, all that good jazz, man. But of course, we'll be live next week for episode 201 of the Music Mondays podcast. And of course, I'll be live tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you guys know the drill. It's been your boys, Om Slaves. This is episode 200 of the Music Mondays podcast. Stay safe. I love you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll see you next week for episode 201, baby. Let's fucking go.